We live. Yes, people. What's good? What's good? What's good, people? Black Eyes TV True Talk. We're here once again to have a lively discussion. I'm hoping I'm joined today by a few different people from across the water as well as our UK family. So, you know, the routine, come in, hit the like button. Oh, let me.
What's good, people?
Just mute that
Black
up.
Eyes TV, True Talk. We're here once again.
All right, we're muted up. Let's get that sorted. Yeah. George, you there, brother? Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, cool. All right. Let me just sort out this shit here. Yeah, so people, you see the topic today is voting harming or helping black people? That's what we're talking about. Um, I'm not talking about the system of voting. I'm talking about voting in this current climate with what's going on, the choices that we're being given to vote for. These are the things that I'm on. George, just say something for 1 second. Let me just try and get my friend on.
Okay. All right. Hey, yeah, peace to everybody. Yeah, so Richie wanna, have the conversation about voting in this current climate. And me and Richie, we seldom disagree on this topic. But we live in two different parts of the world. So I believe that because black people are so concentrated in certain areas in America that it's imperative that we do vote. If we're not repatriating right back to Africa right about now, with all the police shootings, with redlining and everything, we have to get control of our cities that we live in. I live in one of the blackest cities in America, Philadelphia. It's like 1.8 million people here, was 51% black. So if there's damn near 900,000 black people here just in the city alone, not counting the metropolitan area, it's imperative that we get some type of power, that we unify. The white man ain't God. Like, it's not impossible for us to control cities. So voting is necessary. Uh, taking control in local government. I mean, when you get to like the national thing, that's a different argument. But national is one thing, but local government is what's essential and what controls your life. The municipalities you live in. If you live in certain areas, you should know who the circuit judges are in your area. You should understand the zoning laws, the tax laws. You should understand all of those things that's essential to your life where you live at, that will have control over you. You should.
Yeah, I'm
It's
back.
imperative, yeah, that you know your mayor, your deputy mayor, and all these things. If you don't, then that's irresponsible of you. It's you have to know. If you are a man and you living in these areas and you like having sex, you know how to make babies, but you don't know how to purchase a home. You don't know, like I said, you don't know taxes. You don't understand zoning laws. You don't know who your deputy mayor is, the alderman. You don't know none of that stuff within the municipalities that you pay taxes in. Then that's just the dumbest shit out. It's just dumb. It don't make sense unless you get on a plane and going back to Africa today. If you ain't doing that and you participating in the system, then you got to understand how it works.
No doubt, no doubt. And again, look, this is always going to be an ongoing
Right.
conversation of local politics as opposed to the overall politics of who's your country's leader or whatever the case may be. I get that on a conversational piece, and again, even on the local politics side, is kind of a funny one. Big up to Chris that's joining us. Big up to Black Spice that's joining us. As people come in, they'll be hitting the button. You guys, say what you need to say when you're ready. The question of the day, if you don't know, is voting helping or harming black people? When I say that, I'm not talking about, voting in general. I'm talking about in the current climate with the choices that we have and the things that we're looking for as a black people. Are we getting that? And if we're not getting that by voting, is that not harming us because we're maintaining the very system and people that are the problem in the first place? Yeah, and have been proven the Donalds, the Joe Bidens, whoever. Yeah, so that's what I'm asking. And again, if you're a voter, if you are coming on and you do vote, and that's something that you're into, I want to hear about that. If if you're one of our American brothers and sisters and you voted for Trump or Biden, I'm interested to hear why is this? What you think you're getting out of that? Same way for our British brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? If you believe in voting system, if you think Boris or whoever else he's running against is something different and it's worth us voting, or there's some power to our vote, which again I still think is a misnomer, but I want to hear people's opinions. That's what we're talking about. Is voting helping or harming black people? Yeah, me. People in the chat, if you coming on, come on. The link is there. Feel free to jump on. Big up Melanated Goddess. Big up Ultra Funky. If you want to write a question or comment, do so. I'll highlight it on the screen. Wagwan, Chris. Looking tired after a long day.
Yeah. It's definitely been a long day still.
Man,
The voting thing, I would definitely say generally I don't subscribe to it. I don't believe it's useful in any way, shape or form. But saying that, the one time I did vote, I voted for Corbyn, and now with some of the team, I am erring on the side of creating maybe our own political party where, or in the sense of maybe we got to be in it to win it type thing. But as currently, I think that these parties that are representing us don't represent us as a black community. It doesn't make any sense us listening to them or thinking that supporting them is going to do anything to change our current living conditions. And it's definitely something to talk about, 100%.
Yeah, and I agree on that. I agree. I don't really see it's like voting for the lesser demon, and even this idea of even local politics. Like for us as black people, no matter how you flip the coin, it's not beneficial to us in any way. So I just think it's a scam, and I think obviously it gives you the illusion of having some type of power, some type of say so. But I swear the voting's already chosen. Get me before you.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah, so I don't see how as black people is really beneficial to us. But then I hear what George is saying, because we're in a stage where we're not picking up and going back to Africa. It's like, what are we actually going to do while we're in this current climate? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what steps are we going to take in this current climate to put ourselves in a bit better position? But even that, I think, is more going to be for us to have an ideal illusion of comfort, which we already have that, because when we have these discussions, people seem to think that black people having certain things or being in certain positions means that we're cool. We're far from that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like a catch-22 for us either which way. It's mad. But I don't think it's beneficial to us in any way, shape or form. Like even one time I was like, maybe if you vote, you're local, that it will, but then it's still operated and monitored by the elites and the higher up. So how does that work? You understand what I'm saying to you? So either way for us, it's like, it's mad.
Listen, my thing is this, yeah. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I have to mute my son.
Yeah, no. Well, I was gonna say, yeah. My thing is this. When it comes to the voting thing on the local level, again, it's still controlled to a certain aspect, to where whenever there are good initiatives, it doesn't take long before they're shut down. So again, you know, there's always certain good things you can do on a local level, and there's certain responsibility that, again, if you do have a community, which is always a problem, because right now there is no community. That's a big problem. So when you're talking about voting a leader, that's a myth already, because most people don't even know who they live next door to, or don't even want to know. Yeah. So, you know, when you're talking about, again, voting for somebody now on a leadership of the country level, and you're in a country where man's saying it's not racist, you know what I'm saying? All these kinds of statements and all these disproportionate things are happening. And it's one thing for that to be going on in England. But again, in America, it's even mind blowing to me that man in America can still talk with a straight face about going to vote for Trump or Biden, yeah, and think that they're going to be doing something or making a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, there's a difference between having representation in the black community, which I think is necessary. Um, if you're going to be trading and doing other things, then you need representation to help in those areas. But as I said, if the candidates are all seem to be fixed, why isn't there a ballot for no confidence in none of them? I've always said that. Like, if internally inside of
that would definitely be something good for us to think about, because I mean, it's not just us as a community, the black community, that's affected by bad politics. You understand? It's all of us. We're being affected by bad politics, and the reality is, if none of us voted, then everything would have to break down and start again.
And that's what people are not understanding. Like, we have more power than what we think. Like, you understand what I'm saying? I think in order for us to actually get a grip of this, we would have to not vote and make it break down, and then obviously start again. Because, like you're saying, it does affect everyone, because if other communities and stuff are abiding to these people that are not really for the black people, obviously it affects everyone on the long term. But I think we don't understand that we seem to put more faith in these people and not understanding our real power. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I heard when these elections happen and no one don't vote, then they have to do a thing where they have to do like a revote. You understand? So it's really basis on depending on what we're doing, but we don't understand that. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And I don't understand how voting works when the same people that you're voting for don't even want to defund the police. You understand? Or making excuses for police brutality, which is on a rampant right now. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So what are we exactly voting for?
I think the mistake that we make is, before we even get to a vote of no confidence, that would mean that we would have to have a group that would be in agreement with each other. That would mean that the individualism will automatically become a we. Right now, there is no we in America, in the Caribbean,
and in Africa,
there is no we. There's individual. Now, everybody else that looks at us outside of us see us as a group, but we don't see each other as a we. So before you can even get to the vote of no confidence, what you have to do, and that's why I said I don't care about national government, but local politics where I live at, where if the majority of us is black, we should control everything in that area. And that's how you become a we. Because even if we repatriated and went back to Africa, we got to still deal with the politics of the white man and control everything. So we would still have to become a we. So wherever we at, we have to first start to become a we and control the area we at, and then branch it out. That's the way you have to do it. So where I live at, it's predominantly black. It's whole black areas. We don't control the circuit judges because most people don't even know who the circuit judges are. We don't even take the time to even know any of that. But we'll go to work and pay taxes in the municipality and don't even understand the tax laws. So before we become a we have to get knowledge of all that, because we can't even build a nation if we don't even understand how it works that we participate in it.
That's facts. That's facts. But in your opinion, George, how do you think, or give examples of how local voting helps without the interference of the higher ups or whoever else? Because, like Richie said, it only works as to a certain limit. You understand? And then obviously, when there's a good initiative, then it gets spun out. You understand what I'm saying? So, do you vote? If you vote, like, can you explain or give examples of how it's beneficial? Like, so obviously, you know, we can get overstanding, because for me, it's just like everything you're saying is everything everyone's saying is on point right about now. Because at the end of the day, if we're not a we and we're doing individualism, yeah, nothing can't run. But since you brought it up, give examples of how local, because I know a couple of people have tried this, like, you know, in America, where you vote this one, what's her name, Atlanta, whatever, this one, that one, and it all seems randy and dandy, but it's like when they get heat put on them, they kind of fall back, you understand, or they kind of adhere to the people above them. So give examples of how, you know, like a situation where it will be beneficial for Black people in this climate voting locally.
It's gonna be like 3 minutes into download.
George, is that George?
No.
Is he there? Is he
I
there?
never mentioned Shinobi Striker. I forgot about
Yo.
it.
George.
Daniel told me about it.
He can hear you.
Well,
Can you hear me?
I already had it.
He's
Can
got
you
the
hear
mic
us,
on.
Spice?
Yeah, he's turned it
Yeah,
on now.
Can you-
I can hear you. Am I low?
Was somebody saying
Am I
something?
low? Yeah, can you not hear me?
Yeah, she was asking you something, George.
Oh, I
Give
didn't hear.
About
example.
your zone.
I was like, give
Work
examples. Yeah,
for
give
you.
examples. Yeah, how it works for
Uh,
Black people.
I couldn't hear what she said. Though. I was talking to somebody. Which
I said, give examples of how locally voting works for Black people.
Okay, let me get in the car real fast. I get it.
If that was me,
Am I like Richie? Am I low? Because my phone, you know, my phone's up.
Hold up. He's somewhere loud, so he's just getting somewhere quiet, and then he'll be able to hear you better.
Okay.
Give him a second.
I answered that question. How somebody?
Yeah,
somebody
George. What she's asking, George, what she's asking you is what? Give an example of how local politics in your zone is a positive. How it works to a positive.
Well, local politics in our zone dictates certain jobs in areas, especially in a city like Philadelphia. If you control the city council, you control the way the money is moved around. If you got the Black mayor, the police commissioner, you control city government and local politics. Now, in a city like Philadelphia, for a while, that was going on. That's why you didn't have Black men getting shot in the back by police, because it's too many Black people here, and for a while. Black people had the mind, and that was too. The problem is, it's too much fucking corruption. But you have to know, you have to control the circuit judges. You have to control your unions here. You know, you have to control the trash unions and all the different unions where you can employ your people. The Muslims here run the trash union. Brothers come from jail, they go right to the construction local 32 or the trash union and get a job immediately. That felony don't apply to them, because they've been controlling that for Samir and them been controlling that for the last 25 years. We've been conditioned to believe that this white man is God, and there's no way that we can get ourselves out of it. No. And in cities, Black cities, if you control the local government, not the state, local government, you can have power and you can start generating money to the point. The reason why we don't have no governors, because people telling Black people don't participate, don't vote, so we don't get power. In the cities where we got large numbers, the cities where you got large numbers, you have to practice building governments and unification to the point when you want to do something on your own or go to Africa, you already have the know-how. Most of our people can't separate from the fucking white man because they don't know what they're doing. They're not even working together with themselves. That's why they'll hear you say something and know you right, but they're not willing to give up their job. They're not willing to leave the white man's nest because they don't know what the fuck to do when they leave it, because they don't participate.
All right. Well, this is the bigger question. Yeah. The mere fact that maybe we don't know what we want is the biggest blocker to why we shouldn't be voting. If there's no clear reasoning as to what we want, because again, there's a lot of people talking about headliner points when we're doing the protesting. Yeah, we don't want violence. We don't want this. We want equal opportunities with jobs. But again, that's got to translate to real-time laws, or a real hard concrete statement that everybody agrees with. So again, if that's not in place, then why are people voting? Because what are you voting for? And again, if one thing out of 20 different subjects is only getting addressed, just one thing, but 20 other things are not being addressed, and the rest is all to do with other people, other races, all the rest of it. As I said, by you continuing to vote within that framework, you're only going to hasten your own harm, because every time you re-vote those people back in, they're still putting everybody else forward. They're still making sure everyone else's politics are being seen to, and yours aren't. So again, that to me by default doesn't make sense why you should be in the voting arena. Because if nothing's getting addressed, what's the point? What's the point? Like, let me ask you this, Chris. When you voted, what made you?
Yeah, the reason why I voted is
say what you was gonna say, and then I was asking what made you.
Yeah. My thing is simply this: whatever way we're gonna go, we have to go as a block. If we ain't gonna vote, so first of all, it's about getting our house in order, nationally and internationally. Like, we all have to be speaking with one voice, yeah. And with that one voice, we can plan strategically, either or either. Now, the reason why I voted for Corbyn was simply, I hadn't voted in all of my life because I don't believe that it works. Yeah. Now, Corbyn was a guy where he struck me as a guy who had come up through the ranks. It could have all been bullshit. You get me? I don't know. But he struck me as a guy that come up through the ranks, and the conversation he was having, we don't know whether it was true or false right now, but as I say, I'd never voted before, so I was prepared to give him a chance, because when he starts talking about, things need to be paid for, and he thinks the rich should pay, well, obviously I agree 100% with that. So if now I'm going to say to myself, all right, let me give Corbyn a chance. If Corbyn failed me, then that would have been it. I'm not going to be voting for anybody else again in my life because Corbyn didn't come in. But what I liked about Corbyn was the fact that he wasn't afraid to say what a lot of us think, which is like, right now, there's people out here starving, yeah? And people are starving, but the rich are getting richer. The rich have got so much money that even if they tried to spend all of their money, the money can't done. So why should the poor be getting taxed more per pound than the rich? So for that fact alone, I gave my vote to Corbyn.
Can I speak to that? Can I speak to that for a minute? I understand. I understand what the brother said, and I think this conversation is great conversation, because it's something that we all should listen to each other and see what we take from it. Because the thing is this: voting on one end and we voting on the block, it teaches us discipline. It teaches us how governments work. It teaches us how to put together a foundation. And how, and just how we should be moving. That's the first aspect of it. But I want the brother to understand that as long as we don't financially fund the people that we're voting for, they will never ever serve you. The problem is when we do go vote, we're just voting for people that in the system of capitalism, you have to fight. You have to. Right now, there's a presidential race, but right now, the black community should be preparing for 4 years from now. We should be building up candidates and raising up candidates right now for 4 years from now. These people specifically represent us, and we're not doing that like they did. So you got to understand something, man. Here in America, the civil rights movement at some point was successful, the boycott and all the different things, because black people was under overt racism and they had no choice but to stick together. They was coming in your house and hanging you. We knew who the enemy was specifically. There was no There was no doubt. These people right here is your enemy. So even if I don't like Richie, I ain't got no choice but to walk with Richie. Right now, we got this illusion of inclusion. So we really believe we Democrats and Republicans and all the red coats and blue coats and all this bullshit. So we don't have an agenda. White people have an agenda. White people in England will go right to church with you and praise the fucking Lord, but still have a white agenda first before Jesus. Not black people. Black people will have a Jesus agenda. That's our problem. So we just give up our hope. The white man don't do that. He separate church from state. Yeah, you my man in Christ, but white first. Black people, as long as he washed in the blood, he my brother. We forget all, and that's how they got us. So what I'm saying to my brother is, if we don't financially fund the people we vote for, that would be a waste of time. That's why I said we have to learn to take control of the cities we live in and financially fund our own people. If that mayor is in office, he supports us. So now in the cities that's predominantly black, you got like Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Detroit. We got to galvanize our people and teach them how the process works. Because you can't go to Africa and build shit if you don't understand the process.
Yeah, fully. I agree, 100%. Yeah, I agree, and I mean, over here is the things set a little bit different to America. I think the American dream has been a little bit more. I mean, obviously, there's the American nightmare is real as well, but the American dream has allowed a lot of black Americans to really get rich. Over here, not saying we don't have the same potential for growth, but the way how the system stands on the English black man's neck is quite different. I mean, for example, black Americans can become millionaires just selling to black people in America. Yeah. In England, that's not going to happen. If you've got a product that is valuable to the masses, then you can become a millionaire. But you're going to become a millionaire selling to everybody, not just blacks. And that right there in itself is the reason why we're not on level playing fields, the American blacks and the English blacks. Would you agree?
No, and I'm explaining to you why. Black people in America can't become millionaires just selling to black people unless we're selling drugs. Unless I'm selling
say the last bit again. Can't become
black. Can you hear me? Is my mic good?
Yeah.
Black people can't become millionaires just selling to black people in America unless they selling drugs. Unless I'm selling heroin or crack cocaine, that ain't gonna happen. Black people in America, see, I don't understand how America works. Like I was to tell Richie.
Go on.
The worst place in the diaspora to be is because people don't understand. America is the place that everybody wants to come to change. Like everybody that don't live in America looks at America as the big melting pot. This is the place, but it's a big fake illusion. So now when you come here, people tend to think, well, man, you got this, you got a house, you got this, you got that. But no, most of these motherfuckers don't have shit. They got bad credit and they poor. They won from not having nothing. Black people don't have shit. And black people don't support each other. Because this is what you got to understand, brother. In this place, the black people have been sentenced to a lifetime of consumerism. So they consume each other. If you come over here and open up a store, black people are not going to patronize your store because they don't see the relevance in you. Because we was kept out of the economic loop. That's part of systematic racism. So if I open up a store right now, I'm more likely for black people to come in and rob the motherfucker than come patronize me. This is what we do here in America. No, we don't fuck. We fucked up.
So why would you say that American blacks are generally stronger financially than English blacks?
They're not. It's an illusion. They're not.
It's an illusion. They're not.
Don't let the celebrities and things fool you. It's illusion. Just because they got like big states like Atlanta, where you think it's a black mecca, and it's not like that. It's exactly the same thing. Like that's not what it is. It's all illusion. like he said,
Right.
they've been put on a pedestal for so long to the point that people think that's what it is, but that's not what it
People
is at all.
a lot of black people in the diaspora marginalize African Americans because they look at us in America. So like my family that might come over from Cuba, like, what you complaining for? You got a house, running water. I'm like, bro, you never been here. You don't understand the demographics of how it works here. I never been in a shanty town in Jamaica. But when you come here, that's how they separate us, because in America, people don't look at the black people as suffering for the most part. Nigga, you live in America. And they compare where they come from, and once they get here, they don't understand the racism here. So, and what they do. So a lot of people think black people just got it popping, and no, they don't. And then when you do come here,
I know. Look, I've been in America often, so I am familiar. I do see that the generally on average we're about the same, yeah. But and I guess I am kind of looking at the fact that because the music industry is such a big industry, and sports is such a big industry in America, and entertainment, like, so I mean and I shouldn't even be saying that that's all black people are good for, because obviously it's not, but because these aspects of the American life are so big, it seems to the outsider looking in that the money can then trickle down a little bit more readily within the black community. Like, I may have it wrong, and as I say, I have been to America quite a bit, so I do know that in the parts of maybe Brooklyn that I might stop in, or Newark, or Seattle, or Miami, I see that, the blacks in Britain and the blacks in America, if we're not talking about the elites or the famous people, we kind of live roughly the same. Yeah.
Let me break that down. The problem that you have is in the industries that you mentioned, black people are being raped. Fuck with no grease. Excuse my language, but I gotta keep it a buck. Jews own all of those industries, man. They depict black people in a way, they pay you for pennies on the dollars, receiving you a certain way to the world. We generate all the money for the NFL and the NBA, but we don't have ownership, because the Jews they own and control all the private banking. So now you'll see a black athlete getting a paycheck, but the communities that he come from, no. It's still I think that, like, if I compare my African American side to my Cuban side, they live better here in America because you're in America. But once you get here, the politics here is still racist. It's still racist. It's still like what we should have in America, based off of our inventions, everything we invented that moved the 21st century, based off of what we built. Our community should be way better than what it is, but based off of systematic racism, no. Because you got to understand something. What the white man did was the same thing he did in the Caribbean. What do you do with a group of undesirables when you so-called emancipate them? Either you send them back to where you got them from, you kill them, or you assimilate them. And then his assimilation process was to keep you in a lifetime of consumerism. You can never get to the point where you're producing, competing. So it looks good when you see a brother driving a Benz, but the thing is he paying a car note on that shit and he's in debt. He probably don't even own a house.
Yeah. I get it, and I agree. I'm just saying, as I say, because the industries I mentioned are so big, and they are all receiving a check, but those checks that they're receiving are a lot more than the average guy. And my point is that, like, okay, so let's say, for example, a guy's getting ripped with a music deal, yeah, like he gets, I don't know, 2 mil for signing a 3 album contract, and each album makes 10 mil, yeah. He's got fully raped. We all agree on that. But that 2 mil now is supposed to trickle down to his community in one way or another. I'm not saying that each way, the ways that it trickle down is all positive, you know. Yeah, go on.
Chris, you know what the problem is, yeah? As I think
You breaking up, Rich?
America's got the numbers, such a population that whatever money we're perceiving making, and the fact that there's little ownership, yeah, that's the reason why. Hold on. That's the reason why it's
no,
not
I can hear you.
Because of the numbers that they have. Because you've got whole black cities out there, yeah. But as I said, nobody's patronizing anybody. The majority are dead poor or in debt. So when you have somebody that is making money, and they're just saying it seems like, okay, there should be some money there, it cancels out because there's so many people exponentially more than even us in England. Like, again, we've got the minority problem here. So again, by default, they don't have to include us here in the UK. They can just throw you 2 scraps and say, you're part of the population. That's why they'll push you need to have that British identity and mentality to fit in. But in America, you've got this whole fat population that needs suppressing on a whole next level. Their laws and the way they keep everybody subjugated to me, it's somewhat harsher and more in your face, just based on the higher level of numbers. And I think that cancels out the wealth that we perceive.
Hey, let me add on to that, Richie. And I'm gonna tell you another thing that gets left out, and I know this to be fact. One thing that I do know about, because I've been in Philadelphia, where you have so many different other black immigrant groups that come here, and we all live in one community together. You get a chance to see Jamaicans, Haitians, Trinidadians. They are so much more cultured than we are. Even though they went through slavery, because they come from a country where they have a national flag or some form of nationalism, they may fight amongst themselves, but when they come here, they are so much more cultured than us. The women are different. They're just different from us. So what happens is, even when I'm talking to Richie and you guys have a stronger connection to Africa than we do. More knowledge. A lot of you guys have African, maybe grandfather or father. We've been removed from that. And I'm going to tell you why. I had this conversation with Richie on the phone. The African Americans is where everything kicks off. All the revolutions and all the different things kicked off in the diaspora here in America. So what the white man did in the strategy of warfare, what he learned was, we got to keep those African American motherfuckers deaf, dumb, and blind. They have to be decultured as possible. Y'all more cultured than we are. Y'all have more connection to Africa, more connection to certain things we don't. We walking around like chickens with no head. So we got numbers, but it's the numbers of blinded people. But watch this. Even with that, we still influence the world. Everybody look at the black American to see what they're doing from music to food to dress to everything. And the white man knows this shit. So if in America all of a sudden woke up and start moving like a military, everybody in the diaspora do it overnight, and the white man knows it. So he wants to keep the diaspora of America asleep. And he don't have a problem with letting the Caribbean be woke because it's not as many in numbers as it is here. And that's why when Marcus Garvey came to America as a Jamaican, nobody gave a fuck about he was Jamaican. He was a nigga. He was black. We automatically got it popping. The white man learned from that shit. Stokely Carmichael, who left Trinidad, came to America, automatically got it popping. So they understand the power of the black people in this soil. So they don't want to keep them woke. So when I hear my brother say it should have trickled down, I agree with what my brother said, but I want my brother to know we're not cultured like y'all are. Where I watch my Jamaican homies come here, sell they dope, make a couple million, and send all the money back home. Black people ain't doing that shit here.
Yeah. I mean, look. This is one thing that we all gonna have to agree on, the fact that the European has definitely analyzed us. They've created think tanks to do a job on just us, because they know that to keep us in order means that their thing's working as it's supposed to. The minute we start shaking off the chains and we start say, yo, listen, what I got now, man ain't tolerating none of that. This have to change today. That's gonna stop next week. You get me? Man, we ain't killing each other no more. We're standing together, we're speaking from one voice. Yeah. They know that the minute that happens, the party done. So in America, we gotta be hard. We gotta stand on their neck like this. In England, we gotta stand on their neck like that. In the Caribbean, we gotta stand on the neck like this. That like the science behind what they do to keep us in these positions where we find ourselves in is real. So what we've got to do is we've got to regroup as a one block. We got. I mean, I say this to certain guys all the time, like guys who start raising their heads as the guy who's gonna lead our community. I say, yo, listen, before you do that, yeah, you need to train 1,000 of you, yeah, because learning from our mistakes, like. One guy who stands up and says, yo, listen, it's me, starts talking a thing, he becomes a target. If he talks too much intelligence, he gets one in his face. Yeah?
You get dead.
Yeah, exactly. So what we have to do right now, but we have to the guys who are raising their heads as leaders in our community, and there are a few, yeah, we have to be strategic right now. We have to acknowledge who they are. We have to make sure we're all singing from one hymn sheet, and then we have to start training the youngers. So what I'm saying in that is simply this. At any time, there should be 50 people who are able to take the stage, control the crowd, speak with a unified voice that everyone is feeling. So the guys who are going to watch us don't know who the guy is. You understand?
Yes, listen, if there's more people that know the movement, then obviously, as you said, it can't be crippled by them just taking out one person, because that's the problem with most of our movements. You have only a set few people who know what really is good, and everybody else
is cut out, Rich. Everybody else, can't hear.
Oh, he cut out.
Yeah, it's fine. No, I was
gonna say.
Hold on, let me just say this to the people in the chat.
But at the same time, we need to really understand.
Hold on, Spice.
Go on.
1 second.
Go on.
I just wanted to say this to the people in the chat. Listen, there's people coming in fresh. Come on, voice your opinion. The link is in the chat. The link is in the description. Jump on. I like the way everyone's talking. Big up to everyone who's joining us, yeah, and who's just coming on. So yeah, keep the conversation moving. The link is there. This is a free for all. This is an open panel show. So feel free to jump on and say what you need to say. Sorry, Spice. Go on, say what you was gonna say.
My brother.
But you cut out. You sure? Because you cut out. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, go on, Spice. I can hear you now. Say what you say.
Okay. I was gonna say, but we need to
Tell your
at the
son
same
to
time.
stop shouting.
Sorry, I was going to say that, but we need to have people that really understand what exactly is actually really going on, like in terms of politics, and you understand. So therefore, because if you
most definitely, you listen. We're at a stage right now where we can't have no Mickey Mouse leaders, Like Mickey Mouse, we can weed out Mickey Mouse leaders ourselves. You understand? We've had too many Mickey Mouse leaders over the years. Too many leaders who have sold us out. Like, I mean, and don't get twisted for a minute. Like, these guys, when they put it on a man, they've got ways and means to make a man nervous. But right now, we need strength in leadership, or party done. Party done. We might as well give up now and bend over for them to violate
but
us in our ass.
we got to get the people to understand what's really going on as well, because there's a lot of us don't really know what's going on around us. We're just there in it. So we need to have people that really understand what's going on in order to be able to protect. You understand? And like you said, have that many leaders where they can't decipher who is who. You understand? Where we have strength.
Can I say something? Can I say something too? I think one of the major problems too in the diaspora is there's an issue going on, and I'll say this, me being an African American. When I met Richie and I heard Richie talk the way that he talks, I was shocked. Richie will tell you, I couldn't believe it, because in America, everybody that I saw that came over from England was cooned the fuck out with a white woman or a white man on some bullshit, and that shit was just I couldn't. It was just unbelievable. When I seen coming from looking at it from America, I would see a lot of it was different types of Caribbean people that would come to America. You would have the ones that was more on the yardie or the shotters, and they be in the hood with everybody else. But then you would see the ones that come from Trinidad, they got a white woman or a white man. They be trying to be British or European. So there was a split in Africa where that's where your ADOS arguments and all that kind of stuff started coming from, because back in the day it wasn't like that. So when I met Richie 2 years ago, I didn't know, man. My interpretation of black people in London was, Richie, what's the boxer dude named his dad? The one that was the champion. And he always be what's his name?
Chris Eubank.
Yeah, I thought
Chris
all black
Eubank.
people over there. Yeah, I thought all the black people over there act like him. So I was trying to avoid every black person in London. I was away from their asses. But what I learned was, once I got a chance to see the people off TV and talk to people like y'all on the ground, I didn't know that they existed there. And a lot of us don't know. So I would tell Richie, that's where the argument from ADOS is coming from. It's actually a PTSD trauma response, because most people look at our history. African Americans love Caribbean black people. This shit that we hear today is bullshit. That's how Stokely Carmichael became who he was, because he came to America amongst his people. We never rejected our people from the Caribbean. They came here and became great leaders. What happened was, in the last 25 years, they start giving green cards to these fucking coons that start coming in here. So now you have a generation that look at Caribbean and African people as fucking coons, because that's all we see now. We don't see the rebels that come over from Trinidad no more. Or I don't hear people in America that's from where y'all from that talk like Richie and the brother and sister at all. They don't exist here. That's the problem. That's why we on accord. They don't exist. So the younger kids don't see them. The kids that's 20, that's in the street, that's ready to rock, they ain't fucking with no Jamaicans, because they think all Jamaicans is coons. That's the problem.
Wow.
That's the argument. That's the thing that we got to touch on, because you guys are not seen as much. That's why when I would bring Richie on channels with me, he would get attacked immediately. They don't do it now because they got used to him, but they would attack Richie because they thought he was a coon.
Had to let them know the realness, innit?
Yes.
Yep. Bonfire, term. You know the amount of times I've been on show, I'll be talking for a good amount of time, and then like after a good 2 hours, then they'll say, "Hold up, are you black?" And I'm like, "Are you mad? You think I'm having this whole conversation? You're not talking to a black person." But they had to really have that program, in their head.
And that's what I would tell Richie. Like, it's not all their fault. I'm just old enough to live in a city where we all live together and we didn't have these arguments. But in the last 20 years, what the white man has done was he drew a division between us. So the Stokely Carmichael types, they don't come over here. They haven't been coming to America. These motherfuckers back. I remember when Mandela was in jail and we would march here in Philadelphia and we would have the cultural groups. It was African American, Caribbean, man. Everybody was together, man. My first best friend was Jamaican. His father, my father was best friends. Nowadays, that don't exist no more. All the black people was over in their own groups, and these Caribbean niggas be cooning. They can't wait to get over here and get a white woman. That's the problem today. That's why when I hear you guys, I gravitate towards you guys. But we got to have that conversation about what the fuck happened. Like what happened?
And you're saying that, but I mean, Rich as well. I mean, I don't socialize with white people at all. You understand? None of my team's white. You understand? And all of the man them, we think like how I think. You understand?
Here we
Like,
don't know that. That's what I'm saying. Here in America, we don't
yeah.
know. We don't see them. We don't. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Chris,
Remember,
but
yeah, things,
go on.
Chris. You see films like Babylon and old school movies there from the 70s where they were showing England with their Rastaman, Africans, everybody, culture, Notting Hill Carnival from the 70s, whatever, realness.
Yeah.
They've never released in movies to America. That's the killer.
Yeah.
Those statements that we've been watching, even the Countrymans and some of them Jamaican films there that we've been watching from time, they're not seeing them in America. This is why over time you've got a situation where now it's a completely separate thing. Man in America think their experience is separate. Man in England won't know nothing. Man in England saying you don't know nothing about England. Americans don't travel most of the time, again, on a greater level than I think you have. Starting to get worse now. I'm finding the more like young English people I'm talking to, the less they're traveling, which is starting to disturb my spirit when I'm talking to more and more people that never had a passport, like just never had a passport. And again, this ain't America where, for me, they've got the luxury of having a much bigger country and they can kind of go different places and get different backdrops. But for us, it's dead here. So when you're telling me you've never flown out, you're not really interested or whatever, that's a very small box you're putting yourself in. And again, if that's the case, going right back to our original conversation of the show, is voting helping or harming? How the hell are you supposed to know what Guan or what you want or what your community is supposed to need? Yeah, that's it. Or what the difference is between your black community supposedly and the supposed greater, in this situation in England, whiter community, or if you're in America where you're in a wholesale black city, but again, you're distorted because that's a thing. America's smart. You're in an all-black city. You're seeing nothing but black faces. Most of your positive and negative experiences are black faces that's doing it. But again, there's this full white control going on. So it's messing up the mind state now where you got man over there who naturally are looking at the next black man like you're my enemy more than white man because I deal with you more on a day-to-day basis and you pose more of a threat to everything I'm trying to build more than any white person I'm seeing driving around the block, even though we know the greater level is that the white man right now is controlling your zone. That's why, again, when I say to people, why are you voting? And please, I want people who believe in voting. I want someone who does vote to come on and voice your opinion because, we're over here. We're all kind of coming from the same aspect. We've kind of talked about the fact of local voting and what that can do. But I really want to hear from somebody, and I'm trying to get hold of somebody as well to come on later, hopefully shortly. But I want to hear from someone who does believe in voting. And I'm talking about on the leadership of the country level. Forget just local voting. I'm talking about on your Trump, Biden level, on your Boris Johnson level. If you believe in that level of voting and you think that's important, I want to hear why. And again, we've talked about having a vote of no confidence for these people because earlier, Ultra Funky, called his name and he come. Yeah, he was saying something in the chat and you can explain yourself now, Ultra. You was talking about the lesser of two evils and certain other aspects. So please, Ultra Funky, just say your point. What do you think on the subject? And then we can kind of bounce off of that.
Yeah. All right. So first and foremost, let me big up the host. Let me big up the panel. Let me big up the chat. Big love to all the family, prosperity and peace and all the rest of that good stuff. Big up. I'm the type of person. I'm the type of person that does vote. right? Because uh, I would rather have, as I was saying in the chat, the lesser of two evils. Whilst the system is set up the way it's set up, if there's an option to chop off one toe or chop off 6 toes, I'm gonna vote to only chop off the one toe. Do you see what I'm saying? So in the current system we have in the UK, it's either Conservative or Labour, right? Because the Liberal Democrats have been defunct. That's ridiculous now, and it's a lot of racial politics at the moment. So then you've got your fringe parties like the Brexit Party and UKIP and all these other pussy-elves. Now, obviously, those parties aren't for black people. They're not, right? The the Conservative Party are for those who are of money, from money, have money. Now, the Labour Party historically has been for the working class. However, as soon as you do a bit of cursory research, you realise that some of the people who were fronting the Labour Party were massive scumbags, like sexual violence, just corruption on a scale that you can't even believe, right? However, that was then. If we're looking at things today, does it benefit my family personally? Does it benefit my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, my friends? Does it benefit them to have a Conservative government running a place where I live? The answer is no. Right. So, is the Labour Party going to be any better? Probably not. However, it's the lesser of two evils.
Okay, I'm glad that you said that, bro. So if that's the, but hold up, bro. I'm glad that you've done that full circle, because again, if you can say all of that to say that, then again, what's the point of voting? Because again, look, the lesser of two evils. Again, we talked about this earlier. Cool, innit? One person is addressing one thing where the other one's not addressing nothing, but ultimately they're both upholding the majority of the bullshit of society. So by you voting, this is where the question kind of comes to: is it harming us? Because by you voting, you're continuing and perpetuating a system overall that is not for us and not helping us. So
all right, let me respond to that then. Let me respond. Let me respond to that point, because that's a brilliant point, right? But the reason why I said, does it benefit me, my community, to vote for Conservatives? I would say no, right? But does it benefit me to vote for Labour? I would say yes, but only marginally so, because of the principles that the Labour Party is leaning towards do benefit me a lot more than Conservative policies. Like, for instance, historically the Labour Party has always tried to front up the NHS, bolster it with cash injections, investment. The Conservatives don't business about the NHS. They don't. That doesn't benefit me. In fact, like, the NHS, in my opinion, is the greatest achievement of Britain. The majority of Britain's history is fuckery, but the NHS is a success. It's something that, especially in the black community, where things like mental health is tearing our community apart silently. It's going undiagnosed, unnoticed, untreated. Just saying, right? That one policy is enough to pull me towards Labour, right? Because that benefits me, that benefits my community. Whereas voting for a party that's saying, well, yeah, but let's privatize it. Let's make people. Let's try and force in an American style system where, if you listen, if you know anything
Look,
about
ultra,
American
ultra,
healthcare, it's mad.
ultra.
It's too mad. Yeah.
Ultra. All right. Let me jump in there and pose a little question to you now. So you like Labour in that respect because they want to inject cash into healthcare, etc. Yeah, which
Well, that's just one policy.
yeah, one policy. I mean, first of all, they all tell a lot of lies. Yeah. Now
Agreed.
I know historically you're right. Labour has injected more cash into grassroots organizations and things like healthcare, etc. Now,
youth clubs, libraries.
Conservative. Look. First of all, we're dealing with a monetary system that's defunct, isn't it? We're dealing with a monetary system that's a lie, it's a myth. It's fiat currency, it's worthless paper. So, bearing that in mind, when I continue quickly, I'm just gonna say now, with the banking system as it is, and them apparently saying that all of this borrowing you're gonna need to pay it back at some point. It's benefiting us. Is it gonna benefit our grandchildren? And at what point? Oh, now they're gonna say, all right, we want our money back. You've Labour's taken all this money, injected this money into X, Y, and Z. Now we want our money back.
Right, remember, I literally heard you say about 10 minutes ago, you voted for Corbyn because he was saying, let's charge the rich a little bit more.
The rich,
right? But yeah, but let me. This is the thing, right? If the reason why Corbyn got licked down quick is because there's no way the rich are putting their hand in their pocket to help little old pussy or me and you. It's not going to happen. They don't want to do it, and they'll employ any means necessary to ensure they don't have to pay a fucking penny more than they have to.
They should be forced, innit?
Yeah, but this is the thing. If I'm honest with you, hear the wickedest thing, and this is going to sound really controversial, right? But do they? Right now, just hear me out. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but if a man earns $1 million a year through hard work, he ain't scamming no one. Yes, Dad. Yeah, I spoke to him. Give me 2 minutes. I'm coming off in a minute. Yeah, if a guy works really hard, earns $1 million, right? Who else is entitled to that money? I would say nobody is. However, if the guy is about his community, chances are, you know what black people are like. Chances are he's either a Christian or Muslim, and them people there, they tithe some of their money anyway. However, I would kind of contend that if a guy's earned his money, nobody is entitled to it. If he wishes to donate, then yeah.
And in the perfect world, I would 100% agree with you. But the reality is, like, when somebody earns that £1 million a year, like the government come along and say we want 40%.
Yeah, but imagine that's taxed anyway. What is the
Hold on. We're going off topic because again, which one of them conservative Labours is doing something for the black population? Like even the NHS that you was bringing up, that's run mostly off the backs of blacks that aren't paid properly, that doing stupid hours. And that's just the black people, let alone all of the workers are underfunded and all sorts. So again, at what point do we stop pandering to this oh, let it just run, let it just keep. Oh, well, they're saying they're gonna kind of do that because as man said already, they all lie. Not one party ever fulfills truly on what they say they're gonna do. You get me? From what they will all say they're gonna do during election time, and it's knock on your door and this is what we're planning on doing, this is what we want to do. But what actually happens, that don't manifest. So
Can I get in there, Richie? Yeah, can I get in real quick? I
yeah,
was listening for a minute.
Come true, George.
Yeah.
Come true, George.
Yeah, I think that what happens is, man, when you have a group of people like us across the diaspora that's been beaten down for so long, we've been conditioned to really like. It's kind of like we complain about this white man, but we just don't. We just want him to treat us nicer. Like, just think about it. Everybody on this platform right now. Just think about our history with these people. They've never had a psychological evaluation to show that they was deemed fit for us to even be up under these people. But for somehow we believe that we can work shoulder to shoulder with these people, and all of a sudden we got to change in order to fit in, but they don't have to. No, they still see you as a nigga. They still see you as less than. They still see you as a person. We got to control your money and resources, and we still have to have their names, and we're civilized as long as we're nigga friendly. So I mean, we have to be friendly to them. So no, unless we have our own black agenda where we're competing against them, then no, like we got to get it. But we got crackatosis, man, acute white affinity syndrome. We really believe, and a lot of us ain't gonna say it with our own words, but we really believe that this white man changed, or that.
No, it's real.
Like, no, he
Facts.
never said on
do
Dr.
something
Phil.
different.
Hey, look, Richie, he
Yeah.
never said on Dr. Phil's couch and been psychologically evaluated. No, you still a nigga to him, regardless of whatever your position is. Until we take control of our diamond mines and ore mines and Africa and everything else to show him that we can stand up for ourselves, we're still his son. And he knows that shit. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to the vote and the local politics where we live at, we have to control that, because we have to understand how governments work so we can build our own. But when it comes to this national shit, man, fuck his fucking party, his Democrat, Republican, whatever they got going on over London. Because just think about this, right? Here in America, we look at London and they say that the cops don't carry guns, right? They say that the cops don't carry guns, like where London is like the standard of humanity. But in fucking Africa, the goddamn British is killing every fucking body. But they got the audacity to act like they don't need to have guns in their country. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Black people better stop this shit.
And I was
Well,
gonna say,
watch the trap.
go
Yeah, you
on.
see the thing is, go on, Spice. Say what you was gonna say, Spice, first.
I was gonna say I'm not buying the lesser of two demons, because that's just like saying, obviously we know that they're not gonna have all parties where they're gonna be for one people. They're gonna have a party that's gonna build the illusion like they are for the people. Even in the NHS, like Richie said, is run down and over, with people from our communities are overworked, and the NHS is not really successful. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, everything you said, Ultra, just proves why we shouldn't be voting. You understand what I'm saying? And what George is saying is true. I believe that our people are so conditioned that they just want. It's like we just want to be comfortable. You understand? We just want to be comfortable within their system, and it doesn't make sense because on both parts of US and UK, the system was never built for us. You understand what I'm saying? So I agree with George. Maybe locally, if we really understood what politics is and how the government works, then but the two lesser demons.
That was about to lead into my next point. That was going to be my next point. I understand your point, right? And it's not about being conditioned and being comfortable. It's about, we're stuck in this system, and unless you, Spice, or anyone that you agree with has got a viable alternative, you can't tell me that voting for the lesser of two evils until such time where somebody comes up with a new system or something better.
We already have.
Why is a viable? Hold on. Why is a viable alternative not it to abstain? Why can't we abstain?
But this is my point. My point is, how many of us are reading statute books? How many of us are reading books on law? How many of us are putting in the work.
But
Don't get me wrong. One thing we have, the one thing we have is the passion and the drive. Everyone, we have the passion. We have the drive. Listen to sisters like Spice. She's ready to roll out. I rate that. But my thing is, like it's misguided unless we've done the groundwork.
Hey, let me get that.
I'm reading constitutional law right now. Still.
Perfect.
Wait.
And you're the type of guy that I could lean on in this particular circumstance. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're reading statute law, then I can come to you and say,
the problem's coming though is that even in that same constitutional law book, yeah, you're still gonna understand that there's laws constructed that are not in your best interest. And again, this is where the psychosis is gonna come. That if you're supposed to be a citizen of somewhere, of a country, and these laws are supposed to benefit you as a citizen on this airy fairy thinking, if you know, like for us, we're saying, yeah, we're British, we're part of the British Empire, British identity, then you'll start to have an even bigger psychosis and a shock because you're going to be saying,
well, look,
yeah?
look,
and
look,
again,
let me just say quickly,
Chris.
huh?
Let me just say this last thing, Chris, and then you come in here. And the thing is, I think, look, people do need to study more about the law, how politics work, whatever, as a base to understanding what's going on. But I think most people can see just from their everyday lives, their bills that they pay, yeah, and their living conditions, that shit ain't changing. It's getting worse. So there's so many things on a base level people could abstain from voting on easily without having to read half of those books. For me, look, that's how I see it.
Yeah, but Rich, how do you enact change if you don't know how to play the system? Because remember, all these elites, all they're doing is playing chess with our lives.
There's no playing the system, there's abstaining from it. That's what we're talking about.
Okay. No, wait. Oh, that's an excellent point.
Look. Let me jump in quickly. Let me jump in quickly and just
before you do that, bro. Just in case I forget.
Go on.
Let me just say I'm gonna go on mute. I might have to jump off, but the reason why that's an excellent point about abstaining from the system, that to me sounds like a viable alternative. My follow-up point to that is, right, how do we do it? How do we do it? Right, because if you say to me,
to jump after you. So yeah, say what you're saying.
Yeah, all
Richie,
right.
Listen,
So
I have to jump off. I have to jump off, but I'm gonna listen in. Yeah, big up to the family, big up to the panel. Peace.
Yeah, big up. All right. So listen. First and foremost, the reason why I'm reading constitutional administrative law right now is because I realized that, and it's not for me. Like, I know when it's my time, I'm going to Africa, and that's where I'm chilling. I'm gonna see my days out there. I'm gonna be cool. But what I realize is a lot of our people are not going home. Yeah. So what I'm doing while I'm here is I'm biting the bullet and I'm studying things that a lot of these young people ain't necessarily gonna do, but they need to know. So the reason why, for example, I'm studying constitutional and administrative law is because what I want to do is I want to create little things for young people so that so it makes navigating this hostile environment a little bit more easy for them. Like, for example, if the police thought that young people was going to charge them for their time every time they're wrongfully arrested, police would stop harassing our young black people. Do you understand? Now, in administrative law, this is where we possibly can find remedy. Now, I'm not saying it's 100%, but for me, I'm saying to myself, boom, it's a better thing I get to understand it, I read it, and I analyze so that I can now put forth some valid arguments where, boom, I can say to certain guys, boom, listen, if you keep on harassing our young black people, then our young black people are going to be charging you for their time every time. And these are the kind of things that we can put in place through administrative law.
Can I say something?
To make things easier for them as they as the young people navigate this hostile environment.
Let me speak to that, because it's a little different here. And I heard with the
You got a bit quiet, bro.
Hold on, man. My fucking phone.
Yeah. I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Yeah. It's a little different here. I heard the brother call up and he started talking about voting for the lesser two evil and the laws. Let me tell you something. Here in the Americas, we done had all kinds of leaders. We know all about the laws and civics and everything else, man. African leaders done came here during the civil rights movement and beyond and studied here and took it back to Africa. We got a black belt on that shit. The problem that you have is, as long as you don't have a black agenda and you're doing it for your people, if you're going into their institutions, becoming their Republicans and their conservatives and their Democrats, you're going to fall into their traps. These are nigger traps that they set to make you more cracker friendly. You have to go into the belly of the beast, get the education and know-how, and bring it back to your people with a black agenda. If we're not moving 20 million strong with a black agenda to the point where they have to bend to our will, then it's no good. It's no good. That's why I said you have to learn where you live at and black areas to take control of local government with a black agenda. See, if you grow up and you come outside your house and there's no everything that's essential to your growth and development belongs to somebody else, and you got to go somebody else, you will be decultured. You will never have a relevance to your own people. You will always be psychologically subordinate to other people. That's why they set it up that way. You are the consumer. You don't even make the panties and the drawers that you put on your ass. You make nothing. You consume from everybody else. So psychologically, you are subordinate to everybody else, and that translates into running for office and translates into everything. So if you don't have a black agenda in the areas that you come from,
your mic's backing up.
Yeah,
it goes in and out still. But
hold on, I'm gonna come out.
Look, and I agree with everything you're saying right there. And one of my brethren, he actually suggested administrative and constitutional law as a platform. But what you said right there, 100% agree with. And look, this is the reality. Yeah, you have to remember. Or not you, like the people, we have to remember also that we're dealing with a people who only respect war. They only respect beef, you know. Like, if we can't match them on the battlefield, then we ain't got no talk for them, you know. That's what it is. And it's the truth. What you're saying is the truth, like, straight up and down. Like, I'm studying it regardless, just for my own sake, yeah? But I do, in the back of my mind, I do actually know that these guys only respect beef. Like, this is the reason why when we're out here begging for reparations and blah, it's all bollocks. You get me? It don't make no sense. You get me? They're going to talk shit. They're going to say no all the time. Because why? Because we ain't got the shotty to their nose. You understand? If we put in the shotty to their nose, then they're gonna rah.
They're gonna say no, but see, I want you to understand something. Politics, we've been led astray. And Stokely Carmichael taught us this. H. Rap Brown taught us this. Politics is not what they write down in books. Politics is the unification of the people. When you have the unification of the people and numbers all agreeing and moving on a certain accord in capitalism, you move the goalposts. If we're moving as individuals, now their politics affects us. See, the thing is this is an illusion. The white man got guns, bombs, bullets to make you believe that his military and he's going to destroy you. No, the reason why he gives you institutions where he controls you institutionally is because he don't want you to be unified. The unified of the African mind destroys every fucking thing. Everything. And it can start in the fucking local town. So they do it in local towns to national to global. This is what they do. So what I'm saying is politics is something, but they broke every treaty they ever signed here in America. Every time you think you're doing something, they push the goalposts back. The only thing that's going to change and move things politically is the unification of people moving together in unison and agreement. Once you get that, that politics mean nothing because now they acquiesce to what you want. That's the way it works, because everything is centered around money.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree.
nothing you said there I didn't agree with also. And like, look, 100%. What you just said is another fact. Yeah. Another fact is also these guys respect war. They respect who's got the biggest gun. Yeah. They respect, like, you didn't take back no talk. You backed your thing. You stood up and you won the war. That's what these guys respect as well as what you just said. So, I mean, the people who we're dealing with are just 180 degree in opposite of who we are. Like right now, unification for the black community is fundamentally the key. Yeah. How we get there right now, I don't know. Because as you say, we are divided. And they've used their think tanks, they've used different techniques to divide, and they continue dividing us because, as you said, that J. Edgar Hoover said it as well, the one thing that he's most scared of is black unity. It's the truth.
But that's why he uses his illusion of his military to scare you. Because even in his military, all his guns and bombs, if Africans was unified globally, we would wipe them out. It's too many of us in numbers, and they know it. So they have to psychologically condition you to believe and have fear. We see, the thing is, we condition to look at his guns. His guns mean nothing, and the white man knows it. That, you know what's more dangerous? His goddamn little white school teachers. That
Exactly.
psychologically condition you to believe
And
Christopher Columbus discovered America.
And what you don't realize is they're scaring you with all this physical stuff, but they're actually operating on a psychological war against us. You understand? So we need to obviously operate on a psychological, and it starts with unification, and it does start with unification, because all this thing of voting, it, like, I can understand where George is coming from. I think if we had more control, and another brother spoke about this, about building back communities, and within our communities, we would be able to move the goalpost. You understand what I'm saying? Because when you're trying to attack everything on a mass scale or global scale, it's not going to work. You understand? It has to be like from in-house in your community, and then it trickles upwards. You understand? As a on a mass level. Until then, it's like everything is just air and chat. You understand what I'm saying to you? But the voting for right now is not conducive to black people in any way. And I think it's just a thing where we're being rocked back to sleep and have made, like, believing in even deeply more than we was before, in the illusions of pockets of power and comfort. You understand? And obviously thinking that, yeah, we're gonna be cool in the system. You understand what I'm saying? And even this idea where, well, we're here and we're in here, and if you're not trying to go back to Africa, you understand what I'm saying? We need to be getting people on the ideal that, yeah, Africa is home and that's where we come from. You understand? And stop with this black European ideals and all this type of stuff. That's what we need to be doing, because bar that, voting is just a waste of time. But I hear George, I think we do need to attack it from inside our community and get back communities to be able to. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need community, because right now we're not operating as a community. So all this is just breeze. You understand what I'm saying? We need to unify as a community, understand what's going on within our community, and take it from there, and then it can trickle upwards. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Well, the city that I live in Philadelphia, was on the grassroots level, because if you come to America, if you was here in the 80s, Philadelphia was one of the areas where you had black people from all across the diaspora, and then the Africans that was here were mainly people from Liberia and Ghana. When I grew up in Southwest Philadelphia, my first girlfriend was from Ghana. Like the first girlfriend that I had, she was from Ghana. And the funny thing was, back then, we never even had a conversation about none of this. Like, it was just black people. It wasn't like, we had the jokes back in the day. People joked on each other and stuff like that, but we all still lived in the community together. Her father was a painter. He was married to a black woman. So we had that type of community engagement. The government saw that, and the same way he did in the 60s to break up Pan-Africanism. He broke that up, because if you came to Philadelphia, which is one of the blackest cities in America, you would see all of us together. Still to this day, all of us together in the communities together. But a lot of the grown-ups now, they stay off to their own groups. The kids still running amongst each other. We gotta build from a grassroots level up, because I'm gonna tell you something. The biggest traitors to our movement is not the kids killing each other in the streets. It's the educated black people, because they've brought in to the white man system and really believing that this white man has changed because he was allowed to go to college and get an education. He can buy a house. So you hear black people say, "Why, if I can do it, why can't you?" Well, you're doing it based off of the structure that he set up. So basically what you're saying is, thank God for slavery. Because if it wasn't for slavery, I wouldn't be able to come to America and do this. No, motherfucker, a couple of y'all can get through, but not the masses of our people. Because the masses of our people minds still belong to Mr. Charlie. So we got to build up a black agenda.
Facts.
We got to go into those institutions with a black agenda. With a black agenda. We don't see, we're going to get the education from the white man with no black agenda. The white man has a white agenda. That's why my name is George Macon and Richie's name is Richie. That's based off a white agenda. People don't get it though. I mean, my name ain't.
Well, look, as I said to man earlier, yeah, if you don't feel like we're the people that supposedly putting everybody in government in the place that they are in, but I'm hearing, or I'm not hearing from our people, that there's even the power enough within us, even though we're the people with the power, I'm putting them in power, to say that I don't believe in none of you as leaders. But internally, in all of those internal parties, they themselves can go into a room, sit down amongst themselves and say, yeah, I don't like George as the leader. We're going to take a vote right now, and effective immediately, George is no longer the leader. But the very people that are doing the main voting, we don't have that option to be able to say that about the parties. That in itself inherently is crazy to me. And as I said, the fact that, again, whether or not if you don't want to leave your respective country, whether it's the UK, whether it's the USA, and you want to stay as a citizen, again, don't you think that's a problem that you don't have that option to be able to say that? Yeah? Don't you think that's a problem that you can't say, I don't like Boris Johnson, I don't like whoever else is running against him. Neither one of them appeal to me, so there's a vote of no confidence for neither one of them. I'm not even hearing a problem with that, let alone the Trump and the Biden thing. Two known racists, two people who ain't doing shit for you, but somehow you're being forced to vote for one of them, even though you know in your head that neither one of them are going to ever do anything for you. That's crazy.
But that comes with being decultured. That's why I said I don't think that we really understand. You know what I think, Richie? A lot of times, like I was on Sinetta listening yesterday too. A lot of our people, we don't even understand the arguments that we make. When Brother Carterman said we need to love each other, and people was offended that he said that we need to love each other. People said, "What do you mean? We don't love. We just need people knowing that we got one enemy and we need to be fighting." And I said, "Well, wait a minute. The only way you're going to beat the enemy is to have structure. You have to have some type of nationalistic idea of who you are and what we're fighting for. If not, we're going to get killed. Once we get rid of him, we ain't going to do nothing but kill each other. You have to want for your brother what you want for yourself. And what the enemy did was strip us of all of that. Like, my name ain't Sekou Umbutu, or I don't have a Nigerian name. I got a fucking European name and I speak English. That's a white agenda, period. And he educated me. He did everything. So even when we know something's wrong, we don't even know how to properly fight back. And when we explain this to people, they don't get it. So my thing is this. I'm gonna say this, and I know people don't get it. Voting locally in a voting block is not just voting. Take the voting part out. Just the mere fact that we're together in accord on agreements in a block on what we want is power. It's already power. See, Richie, we got to do this live stream we said we was going to do. We got to do a live stream on what is black culture, because we've been conditioned to believe that black culture is chasing the bag, where other groups understand that money is the last result. If I have a culture that dictates how we talk, how we move, how we treat each other, then getting money is easy. See, the thing is this: you have to have a culture, a spiritual system, and then economics. Because all other groups, Mexican in America, right? You know why Mexicans move in, five families move in, and then in 5 years, it's 200 families and they got stores on every corner? Because they have a culture that dictates how they move. They have a culture that dictates how they make money. Before they even make money to get in their hands, the culture tells them how it's going to be done. We chase money without an intact culture. That's why we can vote for Boris and all those different people and think that we belong to a group of people that don't care because we don't have a culture that says, Richie, get your ass over here with the Negroes. We got a culture that says I can go marry this white woman and talk bad about black people. That's what our culture says. And the white culture that we're part of says it's cool. So until when I make the statement that we got to vote locally and take control of local government, that's building a culture, because that means that you have black people understanding what they have to do and understand how they need to be responsible to each other. But we haven't got there yet psychologically. We know how to complain, but we don't know how to actually do surgery on the complaints. We don't know. You can't complain about the motherfucking white man and then go want to fuck his daughter. That don't make sense.
Yeah.
And this is why I stand on that, how we can't have this illusion where we can buy ourselves out of this conditioning that we have, like all these organizations or our own institutions, without, like you said, the black agenda, because it's like we're doing it in reverse. The reason, like you said, everybody that's got money, because they know they're very cultured and they're unified. We're not. We're trying to do it in reverse. We're on this chase the bag, and then we're upholding this nigger behavior, and that's all we're good for. You understand? And we're perpetuating, and then we want to sit down and complain. And then people's ideals is, if we get all these institutions and business, we're gonna buy ourselves out of everything. It doesn't work like that, because if, like you said, if you don't have no type of black agenda, then you're just pandering and reinforcing and complicit to the white man's way and standard.
And just think, sis. Everything that we get in America and the diaspora is based off of desperation. I went and got an education because I had to feed my mama. I made it to the league and made a lot of money because I was living in poverty. I went and got education because I had to get out of the environment. It's not based off of culture telling us. So what I'm saying is the reason why we're conditioned to chase the bad is because of systematic poverty. So now, once you got me chasing money and not culture, I'm already defeated, because nobody else does that. Nobody does that. You know why when you say something about a Jewish person, you get in so much trouble? The Jews don't give a fuck about the religion. The Jews give a fuck about their name. You can never disrespect my name, because my name represents everything. If I let you disrespect my name, you would disrespect me and how I make my money. So they die protecting their name and their lineage, and they make sure that even though our Holocaust is way worse than theirs, they make sure that the world knows about their Holocaust constantly. You better not ever say just get over it. Because we're decultured, we allow people to say, oh, that was a long time ago. But we're not realizing that what happened to us is our power. Do you know that what happened to us in the diaspora, I should be able to go to Trinidad and come to France or London and identify with people that look like me just based off of that. We're the same people. The Jews do that. We don't. I should be coming to London and be in the gulliest part of South London and be safe, because they say, who are you? I'm African American. Oh, you one of us, brother, fall in. But because we're decultured, we don't take what happened to us in the Ma'afa, and the same way the Jews take the Holocaust and make that our moniker. This will happen to us and never again. This is why we're in the condition we are, and never again. We stand on this. So now when we walk in the room for a business merger, they know who we are, and they know not to fuck with us. Joe Biden know not to go talk to Cardi B about black people's issues, but he can do that shit because black people don't stand on our history, because we're cultureless, unfortunately. Let me repeat that. We're not cultureless. We have a culture, but we don't identify with
don't know it yet. And I was going to say that exactly. People need to understand it's not the actual thing, it's just the name of them being Jews. Like for us black people, we wouldn't want to denounce black. We want to be everything else but black, Hebrew, Israelite, this, that, and the third. You understand what I'm saying? It's just the name of just the word Jew that they have in respect. We don't even have that. You understand what I'm saying to you? So this is why we need to understand. And I think we did have a panel about culture. Culture is a big thing. You understand? And with culture comes unification, which comes with the power. Like we cannot be trying to do it backward, like in reverse. Like I don't care what anyone says. It's mad how people don't understand that these people have economic power because they have culture, and their culture plays a part. It's not just the people. It's not the money. With their culture comes is what brings in the capitalism within their community. We're trying to do it where we're trying to chase the bag, and we don't understand that these people that look like us that they put in certain positions are opposition to us. You understand what I'm saying to you? And like you said, they're not even doing it for the fact that they really want to gain anything. It's because they've used the psychosis that when you come from poverty and you've had nothing, you want everything. You understand? Like you said, oh, I want to get rich. First thing they do is they buy their mama a house. You understand what I'm saying? So they know exactly what it is. And everyone seems to think that it's about, yes, capitalism plays a big part, but everyone don't understand that it's a psychological warfare that they're actually implementing on us on a different level. And we need to understand that in order for us to understand and know ourselves, we need to get back our community and culture. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Their biggest aspect of warfare on you was taking away, but basically making like how in America and all across the diaspora we call ourselves niggas.
Yeah.
And the reason why we call ourselves niggas because they basically took your culture and became you, the civilized ones, and made you become them. They was the first ones doing drive-bys here in America, shooting my grandfathers in them, hanging us from trees, cutting our dicks off, raping our grandmothers when she cleaned their homes in the 40s. This was nigger culture. It came from white people, but they conditioned you to believe that you're the nigga. Just think about it, right? If I'm walking down the street 3 o'clock in the morning and it's wintertime and I got a hood on and two white people walking up the street, they'll cross the street from me. But why should white people be afraid of black people when white people have a history of hurting and killing black people? But they condition you to believe that you are this aggressor. They condition our women today to believe she's a fucking savage. So this is all psychological conditioning. Whereas though they can paint you on TV in Chicago and Philadelphia as these vicious, violent thug criminals, where the historical aspects of vicious, violent thug criminals is white people and all the things that they've done to us. And to this day, they still get to be our police officers and judges. So what I'm saying is we have to recognize that before when we have these type of conversations, understand when we're voting who we're talking about. So now voting is just the word voting, but the mere fact that we're moving together on one accord is power, because now we're reversing we're actually deprogramming ourselves. We was never programmed to bred here to move on one accord. So when we're moving on one accord, so Jamaicans and Trinidadians got to stop fighting and arguing amongst each other. Haitians and everybody else, and the Africans and the Caribbeans and African Americans, that's all systematic design, because we think we fucking different and we're not. So the thing is, if when we're moving together, I don't give a fuck where we voting at. If we moving together in unison with a black agenda, we already defeated them, because they designed it for us not to move that way. We got to reprogram it.
Where's Melanated Goddess at? Because she's a Trump supporter. Where you at? You Trump supporter.
I gotta say this. I gotta feed my son. I'm gonna say this. Watch this. I'm a Trump supporter. I ain't voting for him, though. Let me tell you why I'm a Trump supporter. Let me tell you why I'm a Trump supporter. Thank God for Trump. If Trump done woke these goddamn niggas up. If these Trump come and tell you, and these Trump tell you a nigga to your face, and these Trump come and say this country is a shithole country. Trump don't do what the other white men do. Put his arm around you and make you believe. He don't come with start dancing, play the flute, and make you believe you got a voice. Trump just come and say, you niggas ain't got no money. You niggas ain't got no money, and y'all ain't included. That's what Trump did. So if Trump ain't enough to wake niggas up by being honest and calling you a nigga to your face, then I don't know what will. I want Trump to get reelected. I want him to act crazier and crazier and crazier and hope he wake niggas up.
Well, I think the more that he I will tell you this. I wouldn't go as far to say, first of all, I want to say I agree with the majority of the stuff that you've been saying, Brother George. And I don't know if you was reading the chat, but
Gone quiet, can't hear you.
Her mic went out.
but I want to say that, you know, I think that, you know, the more that we, you know, we, 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 Yeah, I think that Trump being in office has gotten more
Hold
black
up.
people. Uh-huh. Go ahead, Richie.
Yeah, Trump being in office. Go
No,
on,
there was
Trump being in office.
the
I think he got more black people just interested in politics because they're like, hold up, I was not involved and this motherfucker just got in office. They're just getting just having more of a like, I need to find out what's going on. I need to be more involved. I need to da 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 da. Obviously, you know, that it would have been nice for them to be involved ahead of time. But I do, I do appreciate that. I do appreciate, his directness. I think I've been talking about leaving this country way more in the last 4 years than I've ever done in my entire life. I'm like, I need a plan B. I'm trying to get my dual citizenship because my parents are from another country. I'm like, as soon as I'm able to fly, I'm going there. I'm getting my dual citizenship. Just because, I'm not like, I will agree. I was one of those comfortable people, and I think that this whole thing really brings that discomfort to you, and it brings it to your face. You know, I kind of heard what Ultra had to say about the lesser two evils, with voting, and I think that for the most part, I think that that's kind of the narrative that a lot of people who do participate, especially in like the presidential elections, that's kind of like their mindset. Like black people is like, oh, I'm just going to pick the lesser of the two evils, because they really don't feel like either candidate does have their best interests. When you don't participate, you kind of get this feeling like, I wonder if I would have participated, if that would have swayed the election. What if more people think the way I do? What if we all would have participated? Like if that person just won by a small margin, you kind of have that feeling like, I hope I didn't fuck this up. You know what I mean? Like, I hope me and the rest of people who think like me didn't fuck this up. So for me, I think I'm very much torn in the middle. Like, I feel like you're damned if you do, but I can't front. There were elections that I didn't vote in, and I did have that feeling of, they didn't really win by much. I wonder if my mentality, and people who think like me, if we would have just cast a vote, if we would have helped, the person to win. So, yeah, that's my little input right there.
So wait, do you vote? Hold up, do you vote?
I do. Now, how much I feel like that's a positive thing. I don't always vote. So like I said, there was a time where I didn't vote, and I really didn't like the outcome of that. I felt kind of like,
so are you voting
maybe I should have.
When it's Trump and Biden, are you voting?
Oh man, yes, I probably will. To keep it real, I probably will. And like I said, I'm not saying that I'm a fan of either candidate. I'm not. I would love for there to be a whole nother, because of that, like, like what if Trump wins by just like a small margin?
All right, so what? Yeah, well, so let's add a little bit of conspiracy to the mix, if we could. So what about if some of these things that are coming out on social media are true about Biden, about Hillary Clinton, about Obama, about Oprah Winfrey, and all this sort of stuff. Like, and Trump's trying to put things in some sort of order. Like, what would be your thought process on that? Is it something that you agree with, or is it something that is it something that you even believe? Is it something you've even heard about, any of you guys in America?
Well, I don't know exactly what you're talking about because
Okay, so
that would be something I would look into, you know.
No, I say no. I disagree. Trump serves the people, the corporate structure of people that put him in office. Robert and Rebecca Mercer, and all the billionaire hedge fund people that run corporate structures. That's who Trump serves. Trump is the figurehead for other powerful people. No,
100%.
The thing is,
I agree with that.
I would say they all are.
Yeah, right.
I would say that I was directly affected because I became a homeowner under Trump's presidency, and it negatively affected me.
Of course,
because when Obama was president, my girlfriend bought her house, and she got like $7,000 on top of whatever her regular tax return would have been, just for being a first-time home buyer.
That's because the Democrats set up programs that
so
stay around for.
I was all excited. My tax return was about to be popping. I was like, yeah. And no, Donald Trump decided to change the tax laws and to give more tax benefits to business owners, right? And to take away the tax benefit break for first-time home buyers. So when I got my return, I was
not a bad thing, though. But that's not a bad thing.
It would have been a great thing if I would have started a business that year, but I bought a house that year.
I'm gonna tell you why. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why. And if I was to vote for president, I would vote for Trump. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why I would vote for Trump, because I want black people to learn how to everything we complain about racism, because we really believe that these Democrat motherfuckers have been helping us. No, we haven't advanced nowhere. And we've been under the Democratic Party for 60 years. We haven't advanced because the Democratic Party programs never set up for you to advance. It was to keep you stagnant. The thing is, I like Trump's approach because to me, he's still a double, but at least he's an honest double. He's telling you, nigga, fuck you niggas. You ain't got no money. You not included, nigga. So now, if this ain't enough to wake people up, but we can look back and say, okay, well, we divided by the Democrats. At least he called me a nigga to my face. At what point are we just going to start marching on our own to have our own agenda? So my thing is, you put Biden in there, all Biden going to do is come back with status quo, because they give you certain things and incentives for you not to stand up. People been on welfare. People been on welfare for 20, 25 fucking years. They just stay home on welfare. No, it's no movement. The Democratic Party destroyed us.
I'm surprised he already liked it earlier. But yeah, sorry, bro.
I'm voting for Richie for president. Fuck that.
And see, so like there's even with voting, I feel like I'm like torn, because there are definitely some policies and things that Republicans stand for that I agree with, right? And then there are other things that they don't stand for that I don't agree with. So that always makes voting very complicated. Like for me, being a black person in America, obviously any sort of social program, any sort of funding for schools and things of that sort, I'm going to want and advocate for resources to be allocated towards those programs, right? So a lot of times the Republican Party the Democratic Party will advocate for that, right? But then the Democratic Party would want same-sex marriages and things of that sort, where I might be like, oh, hell no, like, why is this getting approved, So it's so conflicting. It's so conflicting.
The Democratic Party is the one
Hold on, George, 1 second. Melanae Goddess, do you not believe that you have the right to say, I don't like none of the candidates?
You do have the
If you
right,
guys,
but then
Huh?
when you
can find
execute that right,
instructions.
when you execute that right, you also
This
don't have the
is
right to therefore complain about something that you were not involved in. You can't complain. You can't complain. It's like if I say, babe, what we gonna eat for dinner? And you be like, I don't know. You
Retrouvez plus
can't complain about
d'informations
what I cook. What the
sur
fuck?
votre application
You can't
Alexa.
complain about my choice.
Wi-Fi non
You didn't even
configurato su questo
offer a
dispositivo.
suggestion.
Puoi trovare le istruzioni per la
I
configurazione
just,
So
nella
if you
sezione
don't
dietro del
Yo,
participate in it, somebody
I mean,
GPS?
yeah, somebody thing is talking. I just melanated goddess. I disagree with that. Let me qualify why I'm saying it. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
The reason why I disagree with
Hold
that
on,
is
hold on. Hold on. Wait. I was having technicals there. What did you say? I didn't even hear what you said, Melanie. Sorry. Say that again so I can hear it.
Which part? Which part? I was basically saying that
I
when you
was
said, do you
saying,
not think that you have a
yeah,
right not to say I disagree or I disagree with it. Yeah, you can disagree with it, but I was
I
saying
don't
if
like
you
none
do
of the
not
candidates.
right, if you don't like any of the candidates and you choose not to participate, then I feel like then you deal with whatever the decision is that the people who participated in their
but
decision because they participated, so they
brother.
actually made a decision, and your absence of a vote
hold on.
is not making a different decision. There's no different decision that will result in you not casting a vote.
But let me tell you why I
Um.
disagree with that. Let me explain.
Okay.
Let me
Hold
qualify.
on.
Hold on,
Enough
Rich. Let
people.
me give
It's enough
it.
that are
Go ahead.
saying that.
Hold
On that matter, won't that make a difference? The same way we're counting majority of people that are supposedly voting for someone, and even then, that's a travesty in America because you've not got your electoral
I
roll
mean, that will
bullshit
say
where
something, but there would still be
people,
if 10 people
vote
vote
don't even count
in the whole country.
electoral.
If 10 people vote, right, and
You
8
know,
people vote for and 8 people vote for Biden, Biden's gonna win. That's what I'm trying to say. If only
No,
10 people vote in the whole country,
this
they're
is the
not gonna
mistake.
just say that's still
you
a
guys
majority of the votes.
go.
Yeah, this is the mistake that we're making. See, we can't use that analogy because in the black people, if you're not financially funding your candidate, it doesn't matter who you vote for. Black people have been voting Democrat religiously for 60 years, and we still complaining about getting certain things. This is the problem. If we don't have a black agenda, financially supporting our own politicians, it don't matter. You're just giving away a vote. Black people we've been whoring ourselves out the Democratic Party just because our ancestors said, man, they fought for you to have a right to vote. Well, no, they didn't. The black ancestors didn't fight for you to have a right to vote. They fought for you to vote. They fought for you to have a right to vote with intelligence based off an agenda. That's what they did. Not just go and vote because you're voting. And that's the problem. We don't have our politics together within the communities before we even go out to vote. So when we vote now, it's all for nothing because it gets nothing done. So when you look at the 60s and the 50s and the 40s, they had a political agenda as to how they was moving. And when they got the Voting Rights Act passed, that was passed based off an agenda in the movement. Right now, we're voting with no agenda and movement. So it's for no good.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, man, it's proven that even our participation, even on a minute level, has not changed anything. You understand? Like, take Obama. He was not all his policies except for Obamacare had nothing to do with any advancement of black people. So at the end of the day, if we were to do a thing where we opt out completely on together, where we were unified and it was behind a black agenda, then it will work. The only problem is that we have people with these ideals of, oh, if it's 8% and da 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 da, and if you understand, and that is our problem. Because at the end of the day, our participation in voting has not done anything for no black person from here to the US, and it's been proven. You understand what I'm saying to you? That we're not looking at the fact that we need to be abstaining from the system, because what I see with our people is where they have policies that benefit us on an individual basis and on a minute level, we're cool with that. So it goes back to wanting to be comfortable within a system. So we need to really for me, I see that we don't really understand what it is that we really actually want. You understand? And we still have a right to complain, even if we're not voting, because at the end of the day, that you do know there's other people that are in their own way abstaining from the government. But guess what? It's not going to be felt and they're going to be ostracized and attacked for it because it's not done with number one with a black agenda, and number two is not like as a collective. You understand what I'm saying to you? So,
Hey,
so
I
it
just want to say,
People that are
it
abstaining
doesn't
from
make
the
sense.
government, do you see them complaining? Like I don't see the Amish community out here protesting anything or saying X, Y, and Z. They don't
but they
participate.
don't deal with government.
They just do them.
They
No,
don't deal with
because
government. Yeah, they don't deal with the government.
and the government is not like what we need to
Yeah, but if you
realize
go
is,
to the
remember,
Amish market, I'm sure they pay taxes. That's what I'm trying to say. So when I'm saying that the government definitely affects them, but unless we are at a place where we're operating like that,
Yeah,
then
they
absolutely, absolutely, you
do
can
that.
sign Melanated Goddess up for
Yeah,
whatever
but
situation that is.
that's how we got to get. Hey, real quick, Richie, I gotta sign off. I gotta go to my son. But we got, you know what? Hey, you there, Richie? Hey, Richie, look, while we on the air, we gotta set up a show. I want to get some of the London folk and Caribbean folk over on my show with some of the African Americans. We need to have this diaspora conversation. We need to get it popping, man. Let's get this diaspora conversation going, man. I need to get some of them London accents over to the channel, man. Some of them Caribbean accents. We need to have this diaspora conversation. I got to come off because I got to feed my son. I got to feed my son.
All right, bless up,
bro. No, most definitely.
Respect, bro.
Bless up, George.
Yeah,
we gotta get
listen,
this diaspora conversation.
You see my problems with this conversation. Melanated Goddess, you see what's disturbing me about you and what you're saying, is that I feel there's a very low bar for what we expect. One, as citizens, just citizens, forget the black bit now, just as citizens of a country, I think our aspirations are very low. And then as black people, as we said, and we've talked about, don't know what we want. Again, the aspirations of what we expect seem to be very, very low. Seeing things and saying, oh, well, they're not just, they might do a one for us, so we'll just take that. And
listen, I guess, you know what, after you hear too many 1-2 racist people spew their stuff, you know what I'm saying? It give you a reality check
on camera loads of times.
When you like,
racist.
I'm 13% of this population. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times, like me listening to the UK channels, right? The UK platform. And when these white people be saying stuff like, what can't you do? You can get a job. You can do this. We give you housing. We do this. Like, they really feel like they doing you a favor. And on top of that, you coming in with your culture, trying to spread your culture up in their place, and y'all only 3% of the population, right? So when you look at it through those lenses, you do feel to some degree a little bit, if you want to say, deflated or unempowered or whatever, because I might have the luxury of living in a black city, but America's a really white country. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I could be like a little bit disillusioned, like, black power. I can't drive 60 miles from where I live and be just shouting out black power and somebody gonna shout it back. That's the reality of it. It's just not, that's not the case. It's not I can drive 10 miles. I might even see a damn red, black, and green flag in front of somebody's house 10 miles from here. But I guarantee you, 50 miles from here, it's gonna be American flags every fucking where, all day. If I drive 100 miles from here, I might even see the damn the Confederate flag out this motherfucker on people's cars, on the front of their house, everywhere. That's letting you know where you at. So it just feels like, what am I like?
Listen,
Okay, what is this really doing? Like, oh yeah, we're gonna say something and we're gonna just pump our fists and we're gonna what are we gonna do?
no, well, look, I'm with you. Because remember, in England, it's the same thing, and it's worse. Because remember, here it's more white people. So, and you're talking about what you're gonna see as far as patriotism goes. Again, the average person here, whether they're talking more cultural talks, by default, they're gonna have something about them. If we're talking about white people, where the colonialism is going to come to the surface in the way they think, in the way they believe that you should, as you said, just get on with it, the way they view history, where they don't understand, again, their whole society was built off of the backs of black people. So again, this is why you should be at the table.
Gone quiet, Rich. I can't hear you.
I was coming to the mute button to say, can y'all hear him?
Yeah, Rich, you gone quiet still.
Talks about, if you're really, well, for me,
signals.
I'll give my opinion.
Can you
You're looking at
Brother
it
Richie?
the way
Rich,
it really is,
you have to
then
repeat
it
that
doesn't
still.
really seem like there's a good future for anybody that's staying here.
Rich, we didn't hear the first
your
part of what you
needs
said.
addressed,
He can't hear us.
having your
Richie,
needs.
he can't
So,
hear us. Richie, we need you to repeat like the last 5 minutes or 3 minutes of what you just said. We can't hear you.
We couldn't hear. Yo, something's wrong with your connection, Rich.
when you've got oodles of fucking races,
He's talking too.
yeah, bareface. Yeah, me, bareface.
Rich. We can't hear it. We couldn't hear what you said.
Hold on.
We couldn't hear you.
Because I know there's some reception problem across these things. Can you use that?
We can hear
you. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Sorry, was it cutting out? Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, it was cutting out. We didn't hear you for for about a minute.
Oh, okay.
This racist. You caught on line.
Well, look. In all of the leaders that are out there, Boris Johnson's, the Trumps, the Bidens, and whatever, after seeing all of that, does it make sense as a black person for you to continue to vote for these people?
He's going in.
Even if you've made an informed choice, or you think,
Rich.
You still
we're missing. Rich, we're missing a lot of what you're saying because it keeps on cutting in and out.
All right. One second. Cool. Keep talking. 1 second. We're having technicals, people. Give us a.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. It's
for me, I feel like we kind of have a misplaced of what we should really be focused on. Obviously, what Nene is saying is true, and we obviously should be aware of it. Like the how strong an implication of, you know, us being in a racist thing. But it shouldn't really be a thing where, because it annoys me when I'm on these panels and like the comparisons to the Jews and this and that, and it's never really understanding well, what we actually really want and what we actually need to do. Like at the end of the day, for me, all that's been said by you and Ultra is more of an understanding why voting doesn't make no sense whatsoever, and it really has to be a thing of abstaining, because people need to understand this. Liberation is not a thing where it's going to be like you're going to be comfortable in a system, or you're going to be upholding or complicit in the system, and that's liberation. Liberation is going to be a whole thing where it has to be, we have to just like come away from it completely, and we should be focusing on making our own, because once we do that, then they're going to have to put respect on us. You understand? We have to make them understand that, just like the Jews, like you need to respect what it means to be black. We need to respect what it means to be black. We need to understand what our culture and what our actual black agenda is. And until then, it's like everything is just a myth, because
I agree. Me and Israel, I don't know if you guys know Israel King's Peace Treaty, was talking about it just the other day, where we said,
yeah,
look,
I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, black people can't expect anyone else to respect us when we ain't respecting ourselves, when we're killing each other. Like we if we can't put no respect on our own name, how can we expect other people to respect us? So for me, it definitely starts with us understanding the importance of who we are, and the unification. Again, I'll say it again, unification amongst our people. We have to unify regardless. We ain't gonna agree on everything all the time, but publicly, if we disagree, in public, we agree. That's where it starts for me.
And we have to really actually get serious, because we have to understand that this is affecting generations to come. You get me? Because right
100%.
now, when we had the whole topic of, do you feel like our leaders, elders have failed us? In some sense, it's going to become a thing where we would have failed the next generation to come, because we're not actually implicating, and we're not actually learning. For me, we're not actually learning from the same mistakes that's been going on. That's the whole point of history repeating itself. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not to like focus on all the negative, it's for you to understand our mistakes and rectify them, and be knowing that we really are wanting and trying to rectify it, not trying to rock ourselves back to sleep or put a band-aid on it, or fully rectify what we've seen. And this is the whole thing of like in-house beefing, being on cold, you understand, understanding that we need to have a black agenda which is separate from any type of European type of mindset. You understand what I'm saying? And understanding that we do have a culture, and that we need to be upholding our culture, and our culture needs to be strong, and we need to unify, and we need to understand that we need to be real about the situation, because even though we believe that we are being attacked by other people, but our enemies sit among us, so we have to separate that. You understand? We have to separate and be real about the whole situation. And until then, we are confused about what our black agenda is. Like I said again, and I'm gonna say again, institutions, businesses, and all that good stuff is not going to buy us out of nothing. You understand what I'm saying? It's just going to be a thing where we're reinforcing what's going on. So for me, voting is a no-no, because at the end of the day, like Joe said, the Democrats have been in the position for a very long time, and it's not benefit. And the same thing with Labour. Labour's been in a place for a long time, and I feel like all they've done for us is made us more docile. Would you not agree, Chris? They've just made us more docile and susceptible to the fuckery. to the fuckery that they've been doing. You understand what I'm saying
Yeah.
to you? And now that
Yeah.
conservative is like, oh, there's a realization. Like even when you're just saying that Trump is bringing out a realization to what's going on, I don't really feel that's what it is. I think it's just obviously we're in a time that obviously things are being exposed, in it, and then people choose to, you know, to see what they want to see. But at the end of the day, for me, all this voting is not conducive, not to us in any way, shape or form. Like, I don't care if it's 8%, 10%, 100%. I don't care. We have black cities, or you understand, all these companies and business and organizations and red to tear. Unless we understand that our agenda needs to be black first, which is going to be, and I know a lot of black people have a problem with this because you want to do the 90 colors of Benetton. Yeah, it's got to be race. It's got to be race first, because whether you like it or not, everyone else understands that they are race first, and it's race first and culture, and then it comes economics. You understand what I'm saying? We are doing it, but fully backwards. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Listen, let me say this. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me
Yeah,
now?
we can hear you.
Yeah, I mean, there's someone, everything is everything in the chat was saying that, you know, we're losing twice if we don't vote. Yeah. And again, this is why I got to say to that everything. And again, please, people, if you've got something to say, feel free to jump on. If you haven't hit the like button,
Oh, you're going to be asking
of it.
forever. Everything is everything. Don't jump on panels.
Well, again, this
You
is
live
the
in the
thing.
chat.
That's cool. I get that. But saying we lose twice, again, there's only a lose if there's somebody worth voting for. And that's why I need to keep drumming the point home. If there's someone that is addressing our issues and doing something for our community, by all means, there's an issue, then there's something there to vote for. But again, over time and history, there hasn't been shown to. That's why I'm still waiting. Like, even on this Trump one, as I said, man saying, okay, you don't want Trump to be in charge, or you don't want Biden to be in charge. But again, your alternative to who you may class as the worst is just as bad. So at what point do we as a people say that we have enough power to stop doing that? Especially if these people have been shown all be racist, all be pedophiles, all be sexual predators. They're on camera, back to back. Yeah. So when are we gonna just look up harder and say, you know what? Stop it now. Let's just stop this now. Like, you're dirty, you're wrong. I'm not voting for none of you. You all come from the same system. You're all brethren from young. You all went to the same school systems. You was all educated in the same place. When are we going to make that strong distinguishing factor and say, no, that doesn't make sense? I'm saying, and as I keep saying, in America, it's even more mad, because as I said, you can vote all you want, and then they just tell you, well, you know, it's a swing. It's not really special set of people, white people, who are going to make the vote for you. So what the hell was the whole point? You know what I'm saying? Like, just that in itself is crazy, let alone the fact that all the parties come from the same vein. You know what I'm saying? Like, when are we going to break that chain of events?
Yeah. Most of them are even
What was you going to say?
family, and that's what I'm
Go
saying.
to.
I was gonna say most of them are even like related, to get me, blood related. So, and most of them are, for me, I think politics is more on a business, or is more on a business side, and they also linked to like fuckery, like child, like, you know, in America, child and human trafficking is at the height, and some of these people are connected to it. So when you're voting for them, what are you exactly voting for? Or is it that you're cool because it's not your child and not someone? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? We need to get real about what's really going,
This
what is really actually happening. Because at the end of the day, when you're voting for these people, for me, politics is more like a business for them. Remember, Trump is a man that comes from business, and he is connected to the elite of the elite, even black celebrities and stuff. You understand what I'm saying? He doesn't have no political kind of background or nothing, and he's able to get into office. That's saying something itself. Now, Biden and Hillary,
this
you get me right now. She's on the dock for bare fuckery that people are don't even know about. So what are you, when you're saying that we are like losing twice? What are you exactly talking about? Because what are you exactly, like Richie said, if we have something to vote for, that's a whole different ball game. But we don't even have nothing to vote for. So when you're saying, oh, we're gonna vote for 2 lesser demons, or we're gonna vote because I don't want this one, what are you actually really saying? You understand? What
this
sense
mass
does
the
that
mass
make?
of people. Look, the mass of people. You're saying, look, everything is saying to me like, what's the alternative? And again, we've already talked about it. Abstaining from the current system, meaning that you withdraw. So just on a basic one, don't go and vote.
And this is why I'll get mad with my people, because it's like, but you're saying, what's the alternative? But you don't want to even try just for a second. Yeah, just like how you would try to vote for that demon, to even abstain because you lot are worried about status and keeping up the Joneses, and your little your little trinkets of comfortability being taken away from you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then you lot be the biggest people to be like, oh, what are we gonna do next? Like, you're not even trying to abstain from nothing. You understand? You're talking about voting for the 2 lesser demons. Like, make it make sense. Like, we haven't even tried that. We haven't even tried to abstain to see where our positioning is and how far it would take us. But we're talking about let's do, and then they're gonna say, what are we doing? When I've already shown you that people that are abstaining from it here, it might not be easy. You understand? It's down to what you really want. And it goes back to this thing of having a European mindset of the full illusion of individualism, which they made us practice, because we, like Jules said, we've turned into them. But what you don't understand, even though they do individualism, they understand that the overall plan is a white, Turkish, Indian agenda. You understand? We are not. We're not grasping that concept. You understand? You not going on like abstaining is going to kill you, because what you're worried about is all the things of the world that don't mean nothing. Like, even money is printed. You understand? Money don't even hold the same. £1,000 is not even p again. You get me? So what are we like? That's what I'm saying. We need to really get serious about what it is that we want. You understand? And this is why it's conducive for us to separate
Hold on. Everything. Hold on. Spice, 1 second.
Yeah, go on.
Everything, like, foreigners already have more power than blacks in America. So for me, you voting, yeah, and the same in the UK, us not voting is not going to change that position of not having power, because again, it's already a misnomer. Like, blacks don't have power. The economic power of those foreign groups is already better because they're from established countries. This is again how they cause the divide and conquer paradigm. This is how, you know, an African student can come to America and get more touches than a black American born black person, because they're coming from somewhere where America on whole, the white man on whole, wants to do business with them. So they have to, by default, treat those people that are coming in, then the population, black people, because you don't have they don't want to give you those same rights. You don't have any say. You're not exercising your power. You understand? And again, the power to abstain is a power in itself. The same way a power to look, you voting in the current system of things is only going to continue to perpetuate what is already in. Yeah, this is what we got to understand. Yeah, it's never going to be addressed until standing up and saying that cannot work anymore. Until that conversation.
Yo, Rich, you gone again. You gone again. Can't hear you. Can't hear you, Rich. Can't hear you.
I've already. Let alone
Rich,
all the
Rich,
economics. And this is
Rich,
the next
Rich,
head
Rich,
twang. The local
Rich.
politics. Again,
Rich, we couldn't hear
they
you.
want you
Rich,
to believe that
you
you
dipped
are
out.
a citizen
Rich.
of the that you're in. UK, USA. So they tell you create. Huh? So that,
We couldn't hear you, Rich. We couldn't hear you. You cut out.
so that
Cut
again,
out. We can't hear you. We couldn't hear you properly. Cut out for about 30 seconds.
Cutting out again. Can you guys hear
Yeah,
me?
cut out for about 30 seconds, so we didn't hear.
All right. 1 sec. Continue the
Yeah, can hear you
conversation.
now. Can hear you now.
Power cut just fucked it right up.
Yo, Rich. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm gonna bounce still. I'm tired right now. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. Need to go. All right. Big up, though, guys.
Big
I'll
up,
be-
brother Chris. Peace
Yeah,
to you.
respect. Take care.
So, guess brother Rich is getting things sorted out. Rich?
Yo, can you guys hear me again?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I don't know what's going on. There's mad drop in reception of lately. I don't know. Yeah, I was saying, the twang of local politics is this, is that they're telling you that to invest in, your local community and be able to invest in what's going on as a citizen and as somebody who obviously lives geographically in the place that you live in. But again, after making that investment as a citizen and as somebody who cares about their local community, none of your needs are ever being addressed on the higher level. Yeah, you're spending power to even invest in leaders, as George talked about, and who understands the problems of the community. They've already crippled you in the sense that you don't even have the economic structure to invest in that person to take it to the next level, to go to Congress. Blacks that have money, they're not trying to do anything outside of the pre-structure that has already been offered to you. So at what point is that system is the only people that can break it? Because I'm saying we're the only people. The people with the vote are supposed to be the people who can cause revolution and change. So at what point do we take responsibility for that and say, I don't like none of the people that are in charge, and I believe we need something new? And again, is that just on the premise of us knowing what we want as a people more? Or is it, I think we've got the power enough to just take a step back and not vote? Because I don't even hear people really saying that like it's a real thing. It's like, if you don't vote, you're outside the society. just not caring. That's the spin that's always put on it. When, hold up, I'm not voting because I care. Scared to say who votes for Trump, who votes for Johnson. I really want to hear from them people.
So when you
What was you
say,
going to say?
I was gonna say,
Spice
but
was gonna say,
yeah, sorry.
yeah.
I was gonna say EIE said that the people that are the poorest, like they're not in a position to abstain. So what do you say?
Yeah,
to
what
that,
was you gonna say?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh no.
Oh shit.
I can hear you, sis. I think his phone is messed up.
Okay. I was gonna say, like,
Just dropped it.
for you, Menley, do you,
Yo.
can you hear me? You can't hear me.
I think he got a huge delay. Huge delay.
So what do you say to that, Menley? Like, where you feel like people that are the poorest are not in a position to like abstain, quote unquote, to what's going on? Like, what would you say to that?
I think that the people who are the poorest, if they don't cast the vote, the richer people are definitely not going to vote for their best interests, right? And I hear what Richie is saying like, oh, we don't like who's the candidate, or we don't like what's being proposed. But it would be different if we showed we didn't like it by voting for X candidate, or erecting X institution for our benefit, or doing blah, blah, blah initiative, right? But if we just don't vote, for us to think that anything is good, that's going to send some message, I think that's just dreaming. It's not going to send a message. 87% of the rest of the country will vote, and they will come up with a decision, and they will keep it moving business as usual without the vote of the Black community. Do you understand what I'm saying? So how is that?
People
What
in the
message
chat
is that
room.
sending? It's not sending a message. It's just we're just not participating.
But then I'm gonna
So
say
if
I'm gonna spin that on the head. So what happens, like Obama example, where he did get a lot of Black votes, and then they're in a position where we're still not getting nothing done. Don't that fall on us as well, and we have to hold accountability for that. So it's like really
absolutely,
like,
and I think that we could do something different. Absolutely, I think that we could do. We could do probably maybe I don't think it has to be one thing. I think we have so many problems in the community that the solution is not going to be just one thing. So the actions can't just be one thing. The way to address it can't just be one thing. So if we participate in voting, if we continue what we're doing as far as like at least beginning to patronize one another and have the Black pound and the Black dollar, and support Black businesses, and we begin to continue to erect institutions and businesses and organizations that are focused on our community, I think then we will have more of a footing to say, this is the direction that we're going to move into. This is how we're going to structure things. But just to say, hey, everybody, come November, don't vote. But then we're not telling them what else to do. So we're not doing anything. That's literally not doing anything. What is changing for us? What is changing for us?
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, you're telling me not to do this, but then what is the alternative to that?
Yeah, like if everyone is saying, hey, don't vote for that, school's gonna start, don't homeschool, everybody homeschool your kids, or everybody put your kids in this, or everybody such and such, or we're gonna have our own group economics, we're gonna do a little susu, we're gonna build up, we gotta everybody go to Garvey Town. I don't know what the plan's gonna be, but there should be some kind of plan if you're saying, hey, don't vote, because the reality is 27%, I think it's 27% of Black Americans live beneath the poverty line, something like that. And I think and then it's something like another, I don't know, 40% are part of like the working poor, which is like 60% or something. It's like a huge portion of our community is at least beneath the poverty line, or they're considered the working poor, meaning they have jobs, but they barely could take care of themselves. So
Yeah. And the
Well
reality,
gone, Frank.
of it.
Well gone,
Go on. Go on.
Yo, you're right, yeah?
Frank.
Yeah.
Oh, big
Well
up.
Hello,
gone,
can you hear
Richie.
me? Yeah, big up
Yeah, we
everyone.
can hear you.
Good
Good
evening,
good,
people.
Frank. Good evening.
Everyone's breaking up in this bitch. Frank, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you was
Okay,
coming in
okay.
to say something,
Yeah,
Frank. That's
No,
why.
no, no, I
That's
want to say stuff. I'm just listening. I'm just listening for now. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we want to hear what you say first. Come true.
yeah. Go ahead. We already had to say, Frank. We want to hear what you got to say.
Okay, so what is the topic's voting? Like, should we vote? Should we not vote? That's the topic.
Is it helping or harming black people
At the
voting in this current system?
Okay, I want to ask everyone in the chat a question. Okay, if we vote, what are we voting for?
Yeah, we already kind of went over that, but you can ask them again because we
Okay, you lot went.
yeah, because we already did the examples of, you get me, like, the two lesser demons and what people actually
Okay,
voted for and whatever. But at the same time, I can understand where men is coming from, because in hindsight, in reality, like, I'm in my house in it, so everyone's got their own situation, and obviously people are gonna do what they see fit. That's gonna
mm,
actually affect them, because they say who feels it knows it, in it. So it's
yeah,
like we're really damned if we do and damned if we don't. But my question is how did we get this far in this fuckery? Like, when you really break it down and we're having this conversation, because everyone is giving valid points, whether you like it or not, is now leading me to be sitting here thinking, wow, like, how have we actually got this deep into the fuckery where we have to be in a position where we're fighting for the lesser demon? You understand what I'm saying to you? Because it's crazy,
yeah,
because you have to understand, Mende's point is granted, so is EIE's, mine, Richie's, yours, however you come out, look at it. So it's like, how do we actually get here, and what are we actually going to do? Like, because we've been over it, is a real solution to how we're going to get ourselves out of this, or not on a temporary basis, but permanently. Like Richie said, we've been saying that no more, we've had enough, we're not doing this because it's not working for us either which way. So we really need to be finding, like, solution based to how we can really get ourselves this rock. Because it's like, for me, I'm really sitting down and I'm thinking, yo, this is a mazza. Like, how did we get here? As a people, as a collective, individually, and like, we really need to be understanding about these children that are coming after us, about their future. You understand?
mm,
Because
yeah,
if you're not trying to go back to Africa and you're trying to stay here, the reality of it is something you need to be able to be here and be somewhat cool. You understand? Because the current situation that we're in, current climate, politically, socially, economically, is a mazza. So we need to find a proper solution. But I think we really need to do a thing where we need to get back to culture and unification. You understand? Because bar that, everything is a myth. Because even when you're voting and you're voting on an individual basis, it is a vote, but it's a no vote, because you're voting on the purpose of your own needs and your own beliefs or whatever it is. So it's not beneficial. We need to get to this thing where we need to be collectively wanting to get ourselves out of this fuckery, because it's mad. It's mad. I'm like sitting here like, it's crazy right now. I'm like, yo, black people, we need to wake up. We need to do it fast. We need to come together. We need to find some solutions. We support Black Eyes TV, support Push TV. Get me? You understand? Support.
Let me
Right,
ask Frank a
support.
question. Let me ask Frank a question. So Frank, I'm in America, right? Let's
Yes.
just say I say, you know what, fun this, yo. I'm not voting, right? And let's just say most of the Black Americans don't vote, right? Everyone
Yeah.
who's poor, everyone who's, you know, just Black people, we just say Black power, fuck that, we not voting. And so people, the white community has more people above the poverty line than we do, right? So let's just say the majority of people who are participating in this voting system are business owners, entrepreneurs, educated, wealthy white people who go golfing and they got their clubhouse, and those are the people that are voting. Do you think that the next 4 years are going to be pleasurable for the Black community? What are we supposed to do? Think they're going to be policies that are going to benefit them? They're going to have Black people in mind?
I don't, sister, it's complicated. It's a complicated situation because can it get any worse for Black people if Donald Trump's there for another 4 years? Can it get any worse? I don't know. I don't know. Then my
I
thing,
think it can get real peak, as
it
y'all
can get
say.
real. You think it can get worse?
It can get peak. Yes.
Okay. I don't.
I think it can get real peak. But listen, listen. It's been what, 2 years now. I've been with. I'm
She's
freaking.
Listen, she's the honorary UK British.
Exactly.
Yeah, no
But
doubt.
then again, you know, I will say, like, if I was like 100% Black American, it would really be funny. But because just by proxy of my own culture and then the community that I grew up in, hearing Caribbean dialect or dialogue or just speaking it, using it myself is just, you know, it's normal for me. So hearing something peak it's like it feels normal. But I'm just saying, I don't know. 4 more, like to say like, oh, this is as bad as it can be. No, I mean, because so like, let's say right now we have for public assistance, right? So when people get like housing vouchers or daycare vouchers, or they even get like cash benefits or food stamps. Well, food stamps they're probably not the same, but when you get cash benefits, a lot of times, what I want to say it was probably Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, who was a Democrat, put in place that there is a time limit for you to be able to get the cash benefits. And they instituted this program called Welfare to Work, which means that you have to work to get the welfare benefits. So they provide you with training. You're paid very, very low rate wages while you're doing this training, right? To be answering the phone, working in a store, whatever. Basically, they saying no more you sitting at home doing nothing, getting money. They put a stop to that. So people had to, you know.
Over here.
Job seekers.
Universal credit over here. Yeah, it's the same thing.
So basically, to get the universal credit, you gotta do some kind of job, something, right?
Or actively looking for work. You have to be
you gotta report.
Yeah.
You gotta show them.
Same thing. Yes.
All of that kind of stuff, right?
Exactly
So they put a change to that.
Yeah.
So this is over way over 10 years ago that change has been. Who knows what the hell Donald Trump is going to try to put into place to even make that system even more difficult? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we don't know.
Yeah. So
he could just change the whole welfare program even more. He could change the because so right now if you're low income, you qualify for what they call Medicaid. Medicaid is health insurance for low income people, right?
Yeah.
So that's the people who's getting the Obama phones and the like all of that kind of care. Okay. So sometimes Medicaid, let me tell you, Medicaid pays for everything. Medicaid pays for damn near everything. You see what I'm saying? Because you're low income. So the whatever hospital or doctor, they understand, they know how much Medicaid pays for whatever service, they accept it and they keep it moving. Right? So they know how much they're gonna get for your x-rays, how much you're gonna get for this, right? So like look at this. Let's say you go to the doctor and your doctor says, we want to do an MRI and we want to going to put you on this medication. And you got Medicaid. Medicaid is approved. Boom. Now you got your MRI, you get your fancy testing done, they're scanning your whole body, everybody's happy, the doctor knows what's going on with you. Boom. But you got private insurance. Your private insurance will say, well, damn, they ain't even do an x-ray. We ain't paying for no MRI. You got to do an x-ray first because that's cheaper. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Now, what if Obama? What if Donald Trump says people can only have Medicaid for 4 years? Do you see what I'm saying? Or maybe he put a time limit on how long you can have Medicaid. Or what if he, change the age from maybe if you cover your child to 21, now you can only cover them to 18. Like all I'm saying is that we don't freaking know where he going with this shit or what. So like if we just don't participate, but we don't have another plan B to address the shit that he could do to our community, then how is not voting helping? I don't mind not voting. I just need to know what if I don't vote, what else am I gonna do?
Well, look,
sister,
in this current hold on, Frank. Let me ask you this as well. In this current climate that we're in, where everybody's supposedly marching, rioting, parading, whatever for black rights, like what that should make it slightly easier, no, for us as black people to clearly understand who the candidates are in our respective countries and what the hell are they bringing. And again, everything is in the chat talking about groups on towns of black people who, because they didn't vote, they didn't get dealt with. And again, my question's going to keep being the same. Who were they supposed to vote for that was addressing the problems that they were under? Because that seems to be the bit that we keep missing. Like, it's one thing to say, okay, this is the issue. Then it's another thing to say, okay, this is the solution. Then we got to peg that solution to one of the existing candidates and say, right, are you dealing with it? That's why, again, like when these people and they go to the black, caucus and they go into the black community and they're saying, right, and they're taking the pictures with the black people and the black religious leaders and the black supposed business owners. Walk one. What are they? What's the conversation going on there? And show me a party in history, and I'll wait, whether it's England or America, that's made some sort of change or stuck to exactly what they've promoted during election time or campaign time, as opposed to what they do when they're actually in power.
So Richie,
and Frank,
I might have missed it.
I'll be quiet again and let you go.
I might have missed it while you were talking to George. I'm asking you a question, Richie. So that way I could understand your whole position. Are you saying this only for presidential elections, or are you saying that we shouldn't participate, period, in the voting system? Because, I feel like participating in the presidential elections is really a formality, right? But I do think that my local officials definitely directly, or let me just say, because they all impact me, but it more immediately impacts me. For instance, I'm gonna give you an example. My school district where I live is very they were not prepared for COVID. Their response was not prepared for COVID, and the direction from the governor is kind of ambiguous, right? There were other jurisdictions that they were on freaking point on this is what and when people call the office, they write letters to the office, and those people recognize that they are constituents. Those are the stakeholders. They act on behalf of them in their best interest. So when the parents are saying, I don't want my kid going up in the school, I don't know who got COVID, who bringing it up. No, no, no. Guess what? It wasn't even a concern if there was going to be virtual school, half, part facial. Oh, we're going to open up and then we're going to cancel it. It was handled differently. But my particular school district, they don't know what the hell they're doing until the last minute. Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, I think that to some level, participating does benefit us. You know, like if people can count on the Black community not even being involved, then guess what? They don't need to do anything on our behalf anyway. They'll just discount us like we're nothing. Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm hearing you, and this is what I'll say to them. Local voting again is cool. Yeah, having local leaders from your community who are business leaders, you know, doing various community leaders, it's needed. But again, isn't it a slap in the face when we'll vote a local leader in, someone who's been a pillar of the community, as they say, for many years, and only for them now, when the community's got behind them, they've initiated some good stuff, yeah, whether it's for your schooling, whether it's for the cleanup of an area, whatever, but they've done some good stuff. Now you want them to go to the next level because there's stuff now in the community that you need put into place, not only in your local community, but because it's a good idea, you want it rolled out across the Black communities across the country. So now everybody gets behind him and votes this person up to the House of Parliament, you know, to these higher positions, the Senate, whatever. Now suddenly they're gone. There's no more aid. The rules change. They're not even reachable by the same people who put them into that power in the first place. You get me? You can't even get them to initiate things without those same senators, you know, signing off on it, and which never happens. So again, at what point do we start to see it for what it is and say, hold up, even if we've got someone that we raise on our own shoulders from our own community, there's a certain point where you consistently block anything of worth happening. So at what point, again, do we stop playing that game? And even if we have a local leader from our community, do they become hip and say, well, you know what? Every time our leaders leave our local community, nothing ever happens and we never see them again.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if the laws of the country, well, and again, if the laws of the country already cripple us financially in a way that even if we have somebody that we want to now put up as a senator or, you know, as a parliamentary leader, now it comes the money part where we're supposed to donate to this person to put them in power. But again, everybody's strapped for cash from our community because of, again, more laws on the higher up level, which you've already said, that's a fallacy. That don't make no sense because that's already prefixed. And you see how they've got us chasing our tails. And again,
listen, let me support your argument right here. Right, this is a comment that supports you. It says, "Do you see the Chinese?" And this is by a brother or sister. Their name is Black One, I believe. And it says, "Do you see Chinese in foreign countries getting involved in politics? They get involved in business and economics. Getting involved in politics via voting, what the dumb money does. What? Getting involved in politics via voting, what the dumb money does. I don't know. I don't get that part, but I understand their sentiments. It was a very, real recognize real. It was a good comment, and I recognize that. And see, so that kind of goes along with my comment, which is I feel that in addition to voting, we need to do that. We always need to be talking about business. We always need to be talking about having storefronts. We need to be going to one another. If I need toothpaste, I need to be buying toothpaste from a black man. If I just went and bought tomato paste and stuff like that, because Melanated is trying to perfect her jollof rice. You feel me? Because I'm international, baby. So that's what I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead,
No,
Melanated.
Well go on, Frank.
Yeah.
What you gonna say, Frank?
oh,
Because I
brother,
cut you
brother,
off earlier. You heard me
brother.
say what I gotta say.
I just think with voting, there's got to be an agenda in it. We got to have our agenda. You just can't be giving your vote out for free. If I'm voting for you, I'm respecting something in return. Like voting for voting's sake. Obviously, a lot of people died for the right to vote, and yeah, we get it. But yeah, it's not really done nothing for us as a collective. And I think, as the sister was touching on about the businesses, like Dr. Claude Anderson, he like in Powernomics, he had a blueprint for what we should have been.
What's wrong?
Business.
I can't hear you, Frank. Oh.
Sorry, I said Dr. Claude Anderson had a blueprint for us in the book, like Powernomics, of what our vote is worth in it. Like when we're going to these politicians, we're going with demands. Like from what I understand, especially in America right now, I think for the foundational Black Americans, I think what they're screaming is for reparations in it. The agenda for them is reparations. US government, don't lie to us. You've got the money. We've seen the money come out for COVID, so the money's there. So that's why I think the majority of the Black Americans, like the foundational Black Americans, as they call themselves, are
Frank, you're breaking up. Can't hear you. Can't hear
What's
you.
going on with the internet over there in the UK? They don't let
Listen,
have a
okay.
conversation.
Let me go to a better place in the.
something's
They don't
going
like
on
our
today.
conversation.
My internet.
Oh, okay.
That's it. We're talking about politics and there's an election. I don't know.
Yeah, the YouTube people, they're hating. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Frank.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that we should have been following Dr. Claude Anderson. Is what I was saying in his book, like Powernomics, which explains how we vote, why we vote, and if we're voting, there has to be an agenda. We're not just voting for the sake of voting. Like we need to get something from our vote. Like from what I see in America, the Latinos have been getting something for their vote. The gay people have been getting things for their vote, but we've not been getting nothing.
And their money though, and their money. We cannot.
Yeah.
We gotta realize that, like, this is America. So you want to be heard? They understand the dollar bill.
Yeah, it's
right?
business.
So these
Cash rules.
people have a lobbyist group. Lobby is a really fancy word for financial backing. So you grease somebody's palm and then they'll take your initiatives and put it on the table. The more
Yeah.
briefs, the further it gets on the table. The problem is we be like, oh, black power, red, black and green, black, Marcus Garvey, we want to be black, blackity, black, but we don't want to come off that money.
Yeah. And that's the problem. That is the problem. For what I understand now, if I'm not mistaken, in America, I think the black Americans are saying they want reparations, and they want someone that's gonna speak to reparations before they cast a vote. Am I right or am I wrong about that, sister? Hello?
I don't, because I am not I'm not ADO. Like, my parents are immigrants to this country. So I'm gonna be real, I don't actually follow the whole ADOS movement, or I'm not like keyed into
Where's your family from again? Where's your family from?
My
Where's your
family's
family from?
Panama by way of Jamaica and Cuba and all that other stuff. Because like the more I'm like learning my ancestry, they're like from Panama, but not really. You know what I mean? Like, not like, I can't say I have 4 and 5 and 6 generations of Panamanians. Like, I only have 2. And then my great grandmother was from Jamaica. My great grandfather was from Jamaica. Like, you know, so that's why. And then I happened to just grow up in a Caribbean neighborhood. So like one of my best friends from Jamaica, two of my best friends from Trinidad. Like, you know, everybody that I hung out with, their parents was from Grenada, Haiti, Trinidad, St. Lucia, St. Thomas, St. Vincent. Like, nobody, I didn't have like Black American friends really.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't have Black American friends until I got into
That's why she's
my
over
20s.
here more. That's why you're
man.
over on these channels. You can handle the different voices and perspectives a bit more.
Oh yeah, like I can tell somebody's Bayesian, somebody's Trini, somebody's Grenadian. I'm like, I'm hip to all of the different accents, but when you start asking me about Black Americans, like soul food and like nah, I don't know about that kind of stuff. You know,
collard
like,
greens.
I learned to make collard greens. I was probably about like in my 20s, like 23, 20. The first time I had grits was when I moved out of my house. And this girl from Baltimore, she couldn't believe that I never had grits in my life, because she just looking at me like, you're Black. What do you mean you never had grits? And I'm like, we eat cream of wheat. We have farina. You know what farina is? And she was like, what's farina? I said, porridge. Porridge. You don't eat porridge? And she was like, what are you, one of the 3 little bears? Like, she thought it was weird that I ate porridge. And I was like, we're so different, but we're Black women. Like, it's crazy.
Oh.
So yeah.
So
I'm glad because you see, no, sorry, go on, Frank. Sorry.
No, go on, brother. Go on, brother. I was just gonna say that. Okay, was when I talk to like Black Americans, innit? What they call them, foundational Black Americans, what they call themselves these days. Like, yeah, they're on this reparations thing hard, innit? And they don't mind sitting out of the election, and they don't mind because the way they see it, Trump is racist to everybody, so that's all good. But with the Democrats now, the Democrats will select other groups above them, well, whereas Trump gives it to everybody. So yeah, that was it, my brother.
You don't think there would be a pocket, right, of the Black community that will still, like, okay, the pocket of the Black community, number one, that doesn't identify as a foundational Black American or ADOS, right? American descendant of slavery, right? So let's say you're not a foundational Black American or you're not ADOS. So, but you identify as, I don't know, Hebrew Israelite, or you identify as a Moor, or you
Shit, it's
identify
not
as
helping
a
you.
gay man or as a lesbian woman, right? Do you think that
Secondary type.
those are second? No, but they're Black and they may vote because their best interest as being homosexual could be, to their benefit.
I don't know. It's kind of, sister, that's kind of technical because what I get from these foundational Black Americans is a lot of these foreign blacks, as they call them, that come over to America are not really on code with them. They don't, like, a lot of them don't see them as the fellow brother as we should in it. Like, they're not seeing them as fellow brothers. So there's a little of the same old division, divide and conquer thing going on over there, innit? Because
So no, I was just saying because when you look at if we're 13%, right, of the population, and let's just say if we wanted to subtract,
okay, that's all Black. Sorry, sister, to cut you there. We say 13%. That's Black Americans, or that's the Africans that come over and the Caribbean
yeah, that's
that come
everybody.
Over.
Yep.
That's everybody, yeah.
Right. So I
All
know
of them.
one of the things that the ADOS or the foundational Black Americans, one of the things that they are also advocating for is to have a specific identity. So they want there to be a separation between, like, right now in America, if you're Black, you're African American. So there's we don't have Caribbean ancestry, continental African. We don't have a South American, somebody from Brazil. They African American. They don't give a fuck. You Black, African American. That's it, right? So they want to do away with that everybody gets lumped up under the same thing because, Richie could come to America, have a baby here, and his baby qualify for a scholarship that somebody whose ancestors was literally hung on trees in this country should be able to get, right? Because let's say the scholarship is for an African American, his child wouldn't be an African American. Technically, his child could be a British American or a Caribbean American or a continental African, but just because he comes here and have a baby in the country, that automatically makes him African American. And if there's a job and they have to fill certain slots due to affirmative action for African Americans, they can fill that with anyone, someone from Nigeria or Ethiopia or whatever, right? So that's one of the things. You said what?
I said, they're doing that because the mind state of a person who's from America naturally, as opposed to an immigrant, what you can give the immigrant and the incentives you can give somebody who's immigrated into a country, as opposed to what you have to offer somebody who's a naturalized, an actual citizen of that country, are two different things. The person who's from America should, by default, again, as a citizen, a natural citizen of that country, have more rights than somebody that's just coming over. But because the suppression is on Black people as a whole, they're not trying to give you those rights. They'd rather give it to somebody who already understands that this isn't their original country and they're trying to prove themselves, if anything, extra hard to contribute. But again, as far as them being an actual citizen and getting the same rights, they know they don't have to do that. And even when they do give some of the similar rights to somebody who, as you said, maybe shouldn't get those rights above somebody who's been there their whole life, they're doing it again based on economic advantages that they're going to get from that person's country, as opposed to just looking at the individual. So yeah, I'll give this group of people some rights. I'll make sure there's scholarship funding for them and housing and these kinds of things, because I know when it comes to me going back to the African country of origin, now when I go to sit at the bargaining table and I want your resources, or I want you, whatever it is from you, that's part of my bargaining, where I'm saying, look, you send people here, and look, I look after your people, them. I make sure they get this and that. So now you have to deal with me on the back end. There's no incentive to deal with naturalized Americans or naturalized English people, because again, what are you doing? In England, you're a small minority. So again, do we really need to worry about you because you make up less than 1% of the whole population? And in America, you don't have any funds, and we used you as slaves. So we're not trying to deal with you now. So again, we'd rather deal with these new age black people who, again, just by default, majority of those immigrants have a mind state where they're already wanting to fit in, and they're going to take things like the right to vote very seriously. And oh my God, I've got the right to vote, so I'm just going to use it because it's such a privilege, rather than look at the key factors of what they're voting for based on if this was their country of origin. Because those same people who may endorse and perpetuate the same systems that are mashing up black people in England and in America.
But they do. But I don't want to. Mike, don't say no good comment, Richie, because then you're gonna make me want to comment. Go, peace, brother. IC3, I saw you. I just looked down and saw. Peace to you, brother. I know you got big stuff on.
Good night.
I was looking for you from earlier, bro. I was looking for you from earlier in this conversation. I thought you'd have joined us from earlier, bro.
I went to bed. I was in bed. I just woke up just now. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw it. Yeah.
Well, you saw the question of the day. I know you saw it from earlier, but is voting helping or harming black people in this current climate? That's the question. So please give us your opinion, and then I know Frank dropped out. You might want to say something again, but go through. IC, what's your opinion on it?
I think voting is harming black people and will continue to harm black people until black people are organized in a way to use that system effectively. So in other words, I'd say that if the people classified as black became organized, like with all these and recognized all these different divisions, but voted collectively for the benefit of black people, then a lot of things would be achieved, and as a result of those achievements, they will start to change the voting system. So basically, it's a temporary and powerful battle strategy. But as soon as it starts getting too effective, then they're going to have to try and twist up the voting system. But so then the black people would have to change strategy again. So it's a battlefield, and it will keep moving. But if you're organized and you work together and strategic, any advantage will it means that you'll take ground. You'll take ground and you'll make an advancement, and then they might have to shift the goalposts again, and that means they have to keep shifting, running and twisting, because you're moving forward, taking ground. And so they want me to say, "Oh, it's all democracy and it's all fair. We're not racist." but then when the black people are organized and vote according to that system, then advantages will take place, which means that they'll be forced to change the voting system in some way to try and disadvantage black people again. So it'll be a temporary victory, just like on a battlefield, basically. I don't know if that makes sense.
What? Yeah, no. I'm hearing you. When you like, we've been reading different people in the comment and showing different people, and again, some people are trying to say that to not vote is to not have a voice. I'm saying that within the internal workings of every political party, they have a system where if they don't believe in the leader, or the leadership, they can immediately vote that person out and say there's a vote of no confidence. But for the very people that vote all of the people in that room into power, we don't have that same process. There's no process where we can say, I don't like yay and nay of those candidates, Democrat, Conservative, Labour, whatever they are, Republican. I don't like none of the existing leadership in place. I don't want to vote for them. Why is there no box for that? And I'm not hearing a lot of people really go on like that should be the case. What do you think of that as an alternative to not having to vote for one of the two?
Right, very good. I think it's a good point. I think I've heard. I know a few people that work in that field, and they always say to me things like, "Oh, I'm going as an independent candidate," or "I'm going to start a new party." And so that would be the solution to the problem that you presented. So you just say, well, okay, well, we're going to get our own representative. But then it still goes back down to having a special organization. You see, so when I say black people and black people voting, I would imagine an organization that says, look, okay, we're all black people, and then we'd have all our different departments. So, okay, I'm Black American. So I'm part of this black movement, but we're the Black American division, or we're the Black African division, or we're the Black this division. But all the divisions would talk amongst themselves and then decide what is the best strategy for black as a whole. Yeah, so there'll be different divisions. So rather than trying to blackwash or whitewash or the groups, you allow each group represented under that umbrella term black to have their own little representative, as it were, a little parliament, and then they would all collectively decide what is the best strategic move for the black people as a whole, to decide amongst themselves, not discussing it with the other parties. They would decide it amongst themselves, which would be the most strategic vote, where to focus the energy at any particular time on any particular issue. Does that make sense?
Listen, yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
I mean,
go on.
No, go on. Finish what you was gonna say.
Yeah. That was the first point. Then I could say that if by just saying, "Oh, the black vote," then say people, let's say it's in America or even Britain, and say there's a lot of African from the mainland have come over to the country, and they're a community and they're working hard together and they're planning to send money home and do whatever. And then you say to them, "Oh, you're black." Then they'll say, "Well, what does that mean? What use is that? Oh, we who we are, and we're going to do what we can do." But if you say to them, if there's an organization that says, "Okay, this is the black organization, and we would like to have some African representatives sitting on the board," You understand? Or we'd like to have some Somali people representative. So they're a department of the Black caucus or power movement. You understand? But they have their recognized seats. So you have the Somali representatives who will be speaking about all the Black people, all the Somalis that represent that identify as Black, whether they're living locally or they just come over. That's their representative as part of the Black vote. Then you have the West African representatives, and then you have maybe the American ADOS representative will be part of that Black body. And then, but just by having representatives, that little organization, that little Black organization, everybody else is shouting Black this, Black that, and in all Caribbean, all the confusion will still be continuing. But that little party starts off with that order, and people ignore it at first. But the mere fact that the way it's organized and structured, no other Black organization is organized like that. So therefore it will get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and then they'll not be able to compete with that. That will be the power, because it's fundamentally structured to be scalable. So when the party gets massive, there'll be no shouting and screaming and saying, "Oh, well, we're American descendants," and well, my parents come from the Caribbean. There'll be none of that, because that would have been sorted out from the very beginning. If you're from the Caribbeans and you're arguing, just speak to your Caribbean representative of this Black nationalist party. Say the Black Nationalist Party. So they say, well, what's this Black Nationalist Party? What's different about them? Oh, forget them. They're only a few of them. They're only a small bunch. We're not interested. Well, we got our problems, Africa, Caribbean, all this lot. But you say, okay, we're the Black Nationalist Party, and we have a representative here for the Somalis. We have a representative here for the West Africans. We have a representative here for the Americans. We have representatives here from the Black Caribbeans. And it might be just a small party of maybe 12 people. But because you've got that structure, over time, as the party grows, that structure is going to stay with it. It's like a ship. It's built. And it can take whatever storm's going to come, because those issues of identity are already built into the structure. So it doesn't matter if there's 1,000 people. It doesn't matter if there's 15 people. It doesn't matter if there's 1 million people in the same party. There'll be no confusion, and there'll be no argument. There'll just be proper discussion, because they won't say, "Well, we're not represented, and why haven't you represented us?" There'll be none of that chaos, because it's already structured. It's already built with those departments. So the seats are there, so nobody feels like a stranger. So you got to build the structure with the seats. That's it, really.
Do you vote?
No, but I'm not against voting.
Well, again, let me ask you. Well, have you ever voted?
I'm
what
laughing,
I've
by the
done,
way.
yeah, what I've done, what I do every time that they ask me to vote, or they send the papers round, then what I do, I say, I don't say I don't want to vote. I say, yeah, that's interesting. I'd like to vote. Can you give me some information on how you manage your race relations then? How this voting system manages race relations? And then usually you run off. I never hear of them again. So if a party says to me, "Oh yeah, we want you to vote," and if you're not voting, you're not doing nothing. I say, "Okay, that's good. Okay, so you're Labour, are you?" Yes, we're Labour. Yeah, we're going to do something for the Black people. I say, good. Okay, so I'm a Black person, and I'm very interested to know how your party would look after black people's interests. Yes, we're not racist. We're not racist. It's okay. It's okay. So, how many black people do you have in your party at the moment? What is their position? What is the policy for black people? How are black people treated within your party at the moment? Do you have any figures? What are the stats? What are the policies? You just start asking questions. You say, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm ready to vote. Yeah, good. But just before I do anything, before I sign up, can you give me some information, please, about how black people are treated in your organization and what is the methods and how it would benefit black people? They disappear. So yeah, I'm willing to vote. I haven't voted because I always ask that question because they never come back. So you start asking questions,
right?
It disappears.
That's it.
Sorry?
That's it. No, this is the realness of it. And that's the thing. And I'm glad that you just laid it out like that, because again, people got it, like politics and the system and how things work. There's parts of it that if you want to study up on laws, statutes, this and that, it can seem complicated. But you see how the brother just gave you a quick list of just 3 questions to ask if you're really interested in politics. And if you're not asking those questions, but you're putting your X, your mark to somebody's name. And remember, those 3 questions he just asked still don't even cover who the leader of the party is.
That's
so
right.
Again, you understand, they like their own personal politics, the stuff they've said, the stuff they've done in their life, which again should have bearing as they're the leader of the party. So again, they can tell me whatever they want to tell me. Yeah, we don't do racism, we're anti-race, we're this, we're that, we're for women's rights. Say all of that. But then if the leader of the party is known for, like, having X amount of women, said publicly that he likes to touch up women on their pussy, it's got bare footage of him touching up and saying inappropriate things about his daughter. The next candidate, again, has bare pedophile behavior going on around little kids and has got countless footage of him talking shit about black people. And these are your leadership figures, let alone the party politics, and their policies and how, as the brother said, how they're treating you. And you're telling me that you're still voting for them kind of people there. Something's up for me. Something's up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and let alone that, again, the disenfranchisement of how people feel towards their local politicians. If we open up this conversation, which I don't like to do because I don't really care about anyone else at this point, as far as any other races, but if we were to open it up to the general population, most people would say the same thing, that they're not feeling none of the candidates, that they're perpetuating the same old stereotypical ways and views.
There you go.
Yeah. So, as I said, at what point do you, as a citizen, as somebody who's got a brain, who pays taxes, not voluntarily, they're taking the money out of your wage without you saying a word, who controls you wholesalely, who doesn't give you proper education, proper medical, but you don't have the right to say, I don't like none of them leaders that are in front of me. And none of that doesn't sit, funny in our people's head, let alone the subjugation and the reparation. And as I said, the current political backdrop is that we're all realizing, okay, there's systematic racism everywhere and it's got to stop. And even in that current climate, they can still have 2 candidates that are mad racist in your face and nobody's not saying a word.
Yep. Yeah. So all it is just slow it down. Calmly look at it.
Well, and the only crumb they give us is, well, for me, is this local politics angle. Where, as I said, they let that run for a hot minute. You get someone effective in the community who initiates 1, 2 things, but then you understand that as soon as he goes to a next level, he's out of there. You're not going to see him again. He can't
That's right.
operate under the same rules no more, because that's where they create the federal difference, or, you know, to the local politics. Like, there's always a different structure involved once you go up a notch. So again, that system up top can never be affected by your local politics. That's where I want people to understand that.
Right, but you see, the system can be affected. It cannot be affected by the situation now. But if people sort themselves out before they go in, rather than, you know, people say, "Oh, look, join us. We need your vote. We want the black people. We're not racist. Come in." And then you run in. So don't worry about the problems. If you join us, then we'll get it all sorted out. That's what you want. That's why we want you to join our party. We're not racist.
Right.
We want you to join our party, and we'll sort out all these problems we have in our party. So join us. The more of you black people join our party, the more chance we've got of changing things inside and making a new world and a new party. Rubbish.
Right.
You
Can I
just
ask a
sit
question?
outside, just by the door. Say, "Oh, thank you for the invitation. But before I go in that door, I'd just like some questions sorted out now."
Oh, no, Melanie
So
Goddess was saying.
I wanted to ask both of you all a question, since both of you guys are in the UK. Do you feel that this Brexit thing, does that affect you directly, or is it more so for like other types of immigrants coming into the country, and it's not necessarily something that affects you?
It affects us as far as trading goes, and as far as wages for job go, because obviously the kicker was, you know, they can pay a certain way and they can charge a certain amount when trading, when you're doing any import export. So by the Brexit exiting or staying, that's where that becomes the conversation, because it's affecting those areas. So for black people, it there is an effect,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. But again, because the talk of immigration, remember, it's different here, because this is a wholesale white country, and the populations of other races are so small. It's a funny one, like your topic of the conversation, but you're still not really that important, because wholesale, it's about what the white people think. That's why over here there's been a consistent premise of trying to push this black to be British, and what that means, this collective identity, where again they've tried to break down those black cultural parts and try to get everybody to identify with just being British. So again, they can push through these same policies that don't really help you, but you think, again, you're under the illusion of inclusion, because
Yeah, I
you
can
think,
say
oh,
I've definitely
I'm
seen that.
British. Yeah, I'm British, so it matters, you know, what they're doing, and I'm a part of it. But really, you're not.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's only a few. Again, the only benefit that I will say to here, as opposed to America, is that because we're the smaller number, when it comes to things like education, and I'll say education and again health, a little bit more so, because one, our population in general is smaller, so it's less of a strain, but you know, in comparison, it's still a strain. But we also get a slightly better education system, I think, than Americans. because they have to educate white people more. So because we're just there by default, we get a little bit better standard. And don't get it twisted, majority there's more white people that are illiterate and can't read, can't do any sort of mathematics past any sort of remedial level than black people. But just because of the numbers, they can't subjugate us in the same, again, horrible way they can do in America, because it's a whole black city with a whole black school. So I can really take the piss then. I can really go to town on the teachers I send you, on the materials that you have to work with, on the building that you're in, because I know there's only black kids there. Here, they can't get away with certain things because there are white kids in the same schools. Whether they're poor and they're still kind of looked at as lessers, they're still having to do certain things because by default there's more white people than there is blacks. So that's the only touch that we slightly get. And again, that still adds to the illusion of inclusion, where you think, oh, everything's good because I'm sitting next to a white person, or because most black people in England live closer and have more interactions and dealings with white people. Again, you feel more inclusive. You've got more of an affinity with them. Whereas in America, you're not seeing white people like that. You can live most of your life without really seeing white people unless you go to specific parts of areas, places, or you're going to a specific type of job. So again, the mind twang, as I said earlier, is that all of your problems are caused by black people mostly, more than even white people. Because most of your dealings, your run-ins, your bad, your negative, your good experiences are all being had wholesale with black people. Like, it's a funny one.
That's an excellent breakdown of because I've, like, so many times I've listened to different live streams of like Black American platforms, and I cringe when I hear black people saying stuff like that. The only person that ever harmed me was a black man. Oh, you know, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe they're speaking like this. Like, and I'm not trying to say like it's not true.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, the only man that's ever broken my heart has been a black man, because I've only dated black men.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
By
but
default.
I would never go out and be like, black men be breaking, they be doing this, they be like, I would never like publicly put this message out there that this is my position about what black men are about. And unfortunately, I'm not gonna lie to you, like what you said, like the black channels that I'm subscribed to, on a number of occasions, I've heard Black Americans make that very same statement, that, you know, I've been robbed before. The only person that ever robbed me was a black man. I've been shot at. You know, who shot at me?
Solution?
A black. I'd be like, oh my gosh. Like,
yes.
Right.
It's a spiral.
No, perfect. That's it. This is how they keep the problem multifaceted and keep you off.
But what is the solution to this? You see, I've been hearing the same thing as well. What you're all saying for years and years and years. I've been thinking to myself, but what is the solution to this?
Well, look, the solution has to be abstaining from the current system. Next to breaking the system that you're in, then at least at first, before anything, can you step away? And as I said, if man can do the step away from internally inside of the process, or as I said, if I'm in the party, I can say, no, none of us don't like what's going on, so we're voting this person out. Then why is that not being initiated for the population who are voting every person in that room into their positions? So for me, that's a base solution. Can I see not only people not voting, but let's take a clear consensus of that number. The same way they will tell you, oh yeah, 7% of the population voted, and this amount didn't, and this amount. Well, let's take a clear consensus, as precise as they will take your vote. Has anyone ever taken a precise count of those people who do not believe in any party? Because if we keep doing that and highlighting that problem and saying consistently, every time there's an election, these 100,000 people have signed something to consistently say, and I'm saying just a random number, hopefully it would be a lot more than 100,000 people, but these people are consistently saying that they don't like these candidates and they don't like these policies that have been the same for over 100 years. Because that's what we're talking about. None of these parties have changed conservatively over 100 years.
So I want to try and suggest this. I'm trying to think of the best way to illustrate this, because it's a bit of a strange. It's the same language I'm going to use, but the angle is totally different. Okay. All these problems that you've mentioned, I'm saying the solution would be a small organization that has representatives from each of the black divisions. So you have a chair for a black Somali, you have a chair for West African. This is for Britain, for America, for France, for everywhere. And you have a chair for each of these black divisions. Now, the party may only be about 30 people. And you say, well, that's nothing. That can't make a change. Wrong. It's not in the quantity. It is in the quality. The power is in the quality. How's that? Because, okay, the voting say, well, we've got more numbers here. We've got more people here. No, it's more than just the number of people. It's the quality. So, for example, there might be only 3 people in this organization, and they might be representing a particular part in Africa. It's only and the population might be only about 1,000 people here, but those people might their home might be. The British could be doing a lot of deals with those with that people back home in that part of Africa. So there's only a few representatives here. So they will look after those representatives and pay attention to those representatives, because it's only a small party. There's only a few in there, but it's who they are that matters, not how many of them. So if you want to, if this black national party has a few Caribbean representatives, when you want to deal, when the nation wants to deal with the Caribbean, they would first have to look after those Caribbean that are in this party, because those Caribbeans are connected with the Caribbeans in the Caribbean. So it's not the quantity of them, it's who their representative. Just like when you have an ambassador. You mess with one Chinese ambassador, what? The whole of China. See, so it's not the quantity, it's the quality of the representation. So you could have there could be lots of black Americans living here in Britain, a few of them. And if those few, and some of them might be students, but if those few were part of the black, came to the meetings where we're talking about black democracy, and they had a seat in that party, even though that party is small, everybody will say, listen, if you want to speak to the Black Americans, or you think that's something you want to communicate to the Black Americans, you should go to that party over there, because they have Black American representatives there. They might be voting, they might not be voting, but if you want to speak to Black America, go to that little party over there in London, because they have Black American representatives who are connected to all the Black Americans, or powerful Black Americans back in America. See, so you start to see the party, the political party, as a collection of ambassadors, not worthless Negroes. Every Negro in there is an ambassador of some kind. Then the party itself has a lot more gravity. And even if they don't recognize it, they'll become recognized as ambassadors. You watch. Just by the way that they're behaving amongst themselves. And how if the Caribbeans have got a problem with Somalis, they sort it out within the party. They don't run off all over the place screaming to the press and all this. No, they sort it out within the party, because the Somalis who are members of this particular party, we see them as ambassadors for the Somali community. And the Caribbeans that we have that are part of this party, we see them as ambassadors for the Caribbean. And so any problem between West African community, the Somali community, East African community, South African community, this is the place where problems are looked at and solved before we decide to vote effectively as a bloc of ambassadors, as a bloc of representatives. And then that core system can multiply rapidly. So you could have 1,000 or 3,000 people join, and it would not rock the boat. You could have a whole load of money come in, and it would not shake up the place, and people start losing their head because money's coming in. Because the infrastructure has been laid down. Everybody knows who they are, where they are, what they're represented. All that's going to be sorted out whilst the party is small. Because when the money starts coming in, and when the people start coming in, if you haven't got good foundations, good structure, the whole thing's going to go all over the place. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, makes perfect sense. And you know what? I've enjoyed today's conversation. We've done almost 4 hours. And you know what? I think we've covered it. And I don't, melanated me, George, Frank, everybody who came on, Spice, big up. Everything is everything. Black One, I'm feeling everything you're saying. Everyone who's contributed, it makes sense. But I think, you know what? We've reached a part where I'm going to end it there, because everything you just said, IC3, makes perfect sense. And everything that you said also about simple questions to ask those people who want to tell you about voting, that's the key element. What are they doing for Black people? Yeah. Who's the leader? How do they treat Blacks internally in their party? These are the questions you need to be asking people. But yeah, man, it's been a good discussion. IC3, it was a shame you wasn't with us earlier. But I really appreciate your input today, even if it is on a quick one. Big up to Melanated Goddess. Thank you. Always, support. Yeah, no, much appreciated today.
Yeah, so we look forward to part two.
I think I'm gonna have to do another part to this, because obviously in America they're voting right, nowish. So I want to hear what people have to say once the election's in. and hear if anybody's got something to say about how they think the weather's going to change.
Elron, your fans on. It's really loud.
What's that? Oh, that's your
What's
IC.
that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
I was
sorry.
going to say.
Big up.
Yeah, what was you going to say? Go tree melanated.
No, I look forward to it. I will definitely say that I'm leaving this conversation with a lot more to think about, and I will say that I feel like I'm uncertain about if I'm going to vote or not now. I do have a lot to think about. I'm going to think about more about what my vote means and what my options are, and take the time out to like really look into these candidates and look into not only what the two candidates or the three candidates or whatever, which no one ever votes for the independent person, but I'm also going to look into some of the other things that are going to be on the ballot, and that's something that's not really often spoken about. But usually after you vote for the elections, there are like other, I don't know, like additional things that you vote for. So you could be voting for if they should extend up a judge's ability to remain in position as a judge, or if they should change the length of a senator from 2 years to 4 years, or they just add all this other stuff on the ballot that for you to be able to vote for. So if a person who's not voting, they also aren't even contributing to those things also. So I have a lot to think about and look up and research. So I got homework. You see what I'm saying? Because I want to make sure that if I don't vote, I know all of what I'm not voting for. And if I do vote, I really understand what it is that I'm doing, you know, and not just going through the motions, which I'm being honest, like transparent. That's what I was doing in the past, just kind of going through the motions, like, oh, okay, you know, I'm Black. This is what most Black people vote for. I'm just going to do that and click that and keep it moving. Yeah. So I really, really appreciate this show today. Black Ice TV, you guys like never fail. Y'all always just like, you know, it's like another channel similar to Constructive Convos, and we're not active on Constructive Convos. So I'm so glad and appreciative of this channel that it's just content that builds up the community, and the focus and the topics are always community focused, always family focused, and yeah, just keep doing the good work.
No doubt. Much appreciated, love.
All right.
I always
peace,
look
peace,
for you.
brother.
I always look for you.
Yeah, peace, all. We're on to something. Don't worry. We get stronger.
That's it.
Have a good
so
night.
Yeah, everybody who came on, big up to you. Yeah, come back, support this, like, share, subscribe, donate. You see the link there. Fund this thing. I got kids to feed, internet bills to pay. So feel free to support the channel. Look out for the next couple shows that are coming up this week. We should have something on Friday for you, but I will let you know. Look out for the flyers on Black Ice TV 7 Instagram, on my Facebook, Black Ice TV Richie. Yeah, so look out for what's coming up next. But as always, big up to everybody here for joining us and for participating. Peace, family. Peace, family. Peace.